Let's get going. Alrighty, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 327. This is Problematic Tropes, Villainous Lover Redeemed. I'm actually not familiar with this trope, so maybe there's some information we've never learned. We might figure out, I don't know if you guys are interested in writing stories or reading romance novels about the pattern of men or women cheating and coming back as better people. That could be a possibly new thing. I don't know, but we'll find out. This is a video, if you don't know, by Whit and Folly. Oh boy, Whit and Folly. It's been a while. This came out a few months ago in April. It has almost 14,000 views. And if you don't know Whit and Folly, she's been around for a bit. She's about 16,000 subs. So she's doing okay. Good for her. And if you don't know Whit and Folly, her shtick is the hero's journey, the heroine's journey, and what was the other one? The American journey. I can't remember what the hell they all were. It's like she only.
What's the American journey? Is that the American dream thing?
No, it's something. It has to do with the concept of the American hero trope. So it's like the American hero goes around and solves problems in the name of America and spreads democracy and all this nonsense. I've never heard of it, but that is what she is hooked on.
Made that up.
I don't know. This is a very interesting YouTuber, and we've always laughed at a lot of her stuff. And I doubt this will be any different. So,
what you just described, the closest thing I could think of would be the patriotic paragon.
I guess, but it's American. So
yeah, well, that's a very specific thing.
Oh yeah, and if we're talking about the heroine's journey, it's a complete, I wouldn't say rejection, but it's a complete copy of what Joseph Campbell did, because some of his female students didn't like what he was saying, so they sort of switched it up. And it's just this dumb feminist take on the hero's journey.
Because is she annoyed that the female hero's journey is different from the male hero's journey?
I don't know.
It's about the beast taming thing.
It's mostly that because there is more than one pattern in storytelling, and it has to do with women, she likes it because it has to do with women. And she's definitely a feminist. She's totally a feminist. Like there's really no question about it. So whenever you read,
so because she's a woman and thinks about women, she likes it. I'm sorry, I need a few minutes.
If you actually look at if you actually look at the cycle, it's just basically women reacting to the world of men and trying to fit in with the world of men, and then coming back to her femininity. It's this big pile of crap. Like, no one cares. This is a dumb pattern. I've never seen it before. Maybe there are some stories for women out there specific to this pattern. And you're like, okay, great, whatever.
Does she think to be accepted in society, women have to act like men?
Yes, that's not her, but according to the cycle, yes. So
that's nonsense.
The trials and tribulations of a woman in a story, a contemporary story, I imagine, because
is that her shtick or Campbell?
No. It's an action. No, it's not Whit and Folly. It's a book she read, written by a woman who was a student of Campbell, who didn't like all the details because she was asking questions about, like, well, Mr. Campbell, what about the feminine aspect of this? And Campbell's like, there is no feminine aspect. Women are the prize. Women are the thing to be sought after. They are the temptress. They are all these other things. Because there's just so many patterns in the hero's journey where women are involved. Mm-hmm. But you could apply the hero's journey to female protagonists, no problem. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that, so she wrote a book about the female journey, whatever. And it's
so she just made shit up.
She basically
take canon about reality and said that's
take the hero's journey and say the child's journey and put child in the form of protagonist, and imagine what a story would be like for a child, and that would be your supposed universal pattern of children's stories or whatever. It's half bullshit, half partially example or explained. It's not great. It's kind of weak, and I can't believe it.
Even if you write a child story, it follows the standard hero's journey. Like the thing that comes to mind is In a Land Before Our Time, the first movie. The others don't count; they don't exist. Where you have it's a wonderful children's movie with some drama. It gives you feels, and it's good for children to have those to see those moments in movies, even if it's emotionally taxing. This is basically Bambi with dinosaurs, but not Bambi.
Right.
From the emotional impact. And yeah, it has all those elements. The price is, you could say, the kid finding his mother, because that's what he's looking for, but she's dead.
All right.
But that's the same. That's still the price.
Yeah. It's an odd thing to look at the actual depiction or description, rather, of the concept for another cycle in writing, because I'm sure there are many cycles. And this could be an accurate one, but I need to actually study it. And there's been really no demand for me to look at patterns related to female protagonists, because I don't see a difference unless we're talking about a contemporary setting where women have to prove themselves to men or some bullshit like that, which are stories I don't really care about, because that's kind of pointless to me. I want stories about heroes.
That's really only when the women want to do some man stuff, like
I guess
going to battle.
It's either that,
because that's like, you're a woman, you have 40% less muscle than we do.
Yeah,
you can't train up as high as we do. You want to go into battle. You'll be a reliability as if you were a child. You have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to battle, you don't have to prove yourself.
There's nothing wrong.
Just in case I got something wrong about A Land Before Our Time. I think the last time I watched that was when I was 6 years old. Never rewatched it.
Yeah. I do remember the advertisements for that. It was very charming Disney trailer. So I never watched it though. I did watch a lot of Disney films in the 90s though, but I never saw that one.
Oh man, that's a peak amazing creation.
Oh,
good stuff. And that's an actual creative thing, unlike Lion King.
Oh, all right.
Even as the you could say it has the Mufasa scene in the sky.
All right.
Cloud thing.
Anyway, let's get going. Here's a super chat from Todd Howard. Todd, dude, you don't have to give this out to me. We're meeting on Sunday. Yo, Smut, I'm really excited to be on the Sunday stream with you and LitDev. Just note a few things. One, I have a really bad speech impediment. Two, I tend to ramble. That's cool. Then Sunday waits. Yeah, don't worry. I got lots of people on the Smudcast that ramble. I ramble. Wisp likes to ramble, I imagine. Although to him, that's just normal speech. So,
I try to keep it down, but say that the worse I am mentally, the harder I am able to keep it in.
That's okay. We get people.
Something to expect for today.
Yeah, we get people to say their bit regardless of time, and we tend to just let it go, and maybe I'll jump in here and there. Other than that, don't worry about it. I'm not sure when we're going to do it, whether it's going to be on Morning Nonsense or Smud Talk or whatever. But yeah, it'd be great to talk to you about your comic book and what you want to do and how you want to do it and how we can help you out. That'd be great. So, okay, let's get going. This is a almost 20-minute video, and God knows what the hell she's going to say. It's always crazy with Whit and Folly and her weird interpretations of film. And at least she's now talking about her other love of cinema, which is Korean or Chinese actors.
God.
I don't know. Yeah, she just likes that kind of stuff.
There's some good ones, but Chinese Korean writing for movies is so weird.
Well, clearly it's an influence of the East on the West. So there's all these boy bands and God knows what else. I'm not familiar.
No, the movies come across to me like a bit like you remember when you watch movies from the 60s and 70s, they often still feel like stage plays.
Sure.
And these Asian movies today, especially from China, still do that. They feel like artificial on the stage. Even when you look at something quite modern, the Matt Damon, the thing they got Matt Damon for to play as Matt Damon, that fantasy story about the Great Wall of China, where it exists to fend off alien dragon things.
Okay.
Even there, the dialogue seemed and the way this, less so than in other movies, but it's still present, that it has this vibe of this is all a stage play. This is all people do not really talk like this, and do not really stand around like this, and do not have emotions like this.
There's a lot of old black and white films like
stiff.
that. Yeah, it feels like, oh, this is a really big, serious, dramatic scene, when it's just two people in a room, and you're like, okay, well, that's not a big deal. And they're talking about life or relationships. You're like, okay, yeah, it's a movie, it's fine. But it feels like you're watching this, and there's like a certain scope for the camera to only go past. Like the set is clearly here to make it look like a house, or whatever the vibe is for those old productions where they could get by on a shoestring budget rather.
Oh yeah, and I just finished watching all the Golgo 13 stuff.
Oh my god,
including the live action movies, the old ones. Holy shit, the second one is bad.
Yeah,
the first one's actually pretty good, but for its time. And the second one is just all over the place. The cinematography is just what the fuck.
I don't.
And it's all played in Hong Kong. The second one.
Oh, cool.
And the first one's in Iran, and they do seem to speak proper Japanese, the actors, although they're Iranians, and I think there's a few Germans even. But the one in Hong Kong, some seem to have spoken Japanese, but the others are clearly dubbed over, and probably spoke Mandarin.
Oh.
And it's really weird, and the way the people act, especially the group scenes, it's just this is I can't believe people act like this in real life. This is how Asians act in Asian cinema, and yeah, and Chinese cinema still has that a lot today. Watch old shit. Watch old shit. It's sometimes even better and more entertaining than the current stuff.
Yeah, stick to the series. Golgo 13 in movie format is not that hot. It's kind of weird, but
yeah,
it's always over the top, stupid action.
The series is pretty good, and I don't fucking understand what that character really is.
No.
By the end, his code becomes more clear. That he's not a pure evil psychopath.
No.
But it's still, to understand this guy is
yeah.
And since he has no real the backstory is never revealed in the series.
Sometimes
he's a mystery.
Sometimes he doesn't care about the client's background, and sometimes he does. It's kind of weird. You're not sure. It's like, I don't.
Yeah, the pattern. There is a pattern to it. It becomes clear over time, but it's still it's not completely clear. It's just hinted at.
Yeah. He's more of a vehicle to look at the crazy reality of like the rich and powerful, or the eccentric, and what they want out of life, and why they have to go to murder to get what they want, or it's just this strange series of episodes.
Oh yeah. In the beginning, it's just like 6 or 7 episodes. It's just about to hit home that this is the crazy shots he does. And so to establish him as how good he is, so that later on you don't question his abilities. And after that, it's mainly the stories about the people who are affected by him or request his help, and so on.
Yeah,
and I honestly do like the last 2 or 3 episodes, especially the last one. And I really like the wine one.
All the characters are like, once they start doing this, they realize what they just got themselves into. And a lot of the good characters I like are like, they're ready to die as well, because they're sort of like, I'm going to ask you to kill someone, my life is also forfeit because that's what I'm asking you to do. So it's okay for me to die. In a lot of cases, these people do die as well. Like a lot of people end up dying aside from the one person that was contracted, which is always a fun little twist. It's kind of like a murder mystery. You're like, what exactly is going to happen at the end? You're not sure. And
they're all little crime stories, and it's up to the viewer to figure it out before the end.
But people are going to die.
You know that the killer is Golgo.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about. It's about the story that leads to the deaths.
It's an interesting series of stories. I will say that.
Yeah, and that story with the in that little hotel in the desert with the blind grandma. Fucking hell, that was art. That was a perfect scene in that whole series that I can't even remember when I've last seen something written like that in Hollywood. There was so much emotion and so little dialogue and so little action with so much impact in that little scene in that hotel room. It's wow. Watch that series. I'd say it's a hidden gem.
Anyway, let's get going. This is going to take some time. And yeah, she's a bit flowery. So it will be odd to interpret, let's just say. Okay. 18 minutes and a half. Let's go. There we go. This is actually a famous song. The pizzicato version of it.
Okay, that's probably J-drama and stuff.
Ah! He's not blinking? What the hell?
When I was a little
This is what Matrix gave us.
Yeah.
I loved romance. I loved imagining the tension, the angst, the electricity pulsing between two people that were destined to be together. When I got a little older, I pushed it away for seemingly...
I have a question. The English have taken this German word Angst. Call it angst.
Yeah.
It just means fear in German. What does the English what is this
it's kind of like
Germanicism mean in English?
It's kind of like anxiety, like you're sort of pensive of what's about to happen, and you're sometimes also angry. So it's like I'm sort of angry at what just happened, and I'm really scared at the same time. So it's like you're worrying about something. You're just very pensive that something's about to happen.
So an emo kid?
Yeah, like I still prefer using anxiety because it's more accurate. And angst is like a weird amalgamation of fear and anxiety and a bunch of other things, like apprehension. I'm apprehensive about this thing that's about to happen. But usually when we talk about pensiveness, it's like I'm worrying about the future. And that's just say worry, but if you want emotion, like put it in fear and dread of something bad about to happen. Anyway, Watchmen is the big serious movie she had to watch before she forgot about love. Like, okay.
What?
Because as a little girl, she loved love. You're like, okay.
More grown media, but the romance in certain stories always called me back. It wasn't until my late 20s that I realized that there was...
Okay, so I thought...
Is what she means with romance, just flirting?
Romance stories in general, the genre. I thought she was a younger girl.
It just pisses me off in English that romance sometimes means sex and sometimes means flirting.
She's showing
it's always
movies.
Contextual.
So I'm assuming it's the genre. I'm sure the scenarios in the genre are romantic scenarios. So, but I had no idea she was that old. I thought she was a younger woman. Because usually when you're in university, you start studying stuff and you spend a lot of time reading books, your brain goes, oh, I was wrong last year. Or, oh, this interpretation makes way more sense. She actually is reading Joseph Campbell now and going, oh, yeah, no, this is right. The same with the heroine's journey and the American's whatever, like all that crap we had to cover before. Like she was currently doing that year, like last year. So yeah, she never grew up. She never learned the lessons. She swallowed the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and there's no hope for her. So forget about trying to teach this lady anything. Forget about trying to communicate with her. It's a pipe dream. We're never going to get that far with her. So anyway.
No reason to embrace my love of love fully and without shame. I had gone on my own heroine's journey in a way. I had put aside the feminine.
So here's the nonsense.
The nonsense journey?
The nonsense journey. I call it the drug-induced journey because it's pretty much just heroin. You can make up any shit, and it's the same thing. Separation.
When she says the love for love, that just sounds like an addiction.
She's just being cute.
It sounds like she just wants to get high. It's like reading. I don't like reading fetish stories.
I have a love for, I don't know, the Smurfs, and I grew out of it, but then I came back to it, something like that. So here it's very dumb, like just separation from the feminine, learning the rules of the boys' club. I mean, the second threshold, spirituality, and death.
Within what?
It's just. It's such a
There's
boring.
No trials, illusory.
Like, can you imagine a masculine journey? Like, think of a masculine journey
aridity.
Where you're going
spiritual aridity and death. What the fuck?
Okay, well,
I'm sorry. Keep on. Go on.
The thing is, if we're to take what I like to do is take the exact same concept and just replace every feminine term with a masculine term, and think about why would that be relevant in story format? What pattern do we see? Do we see a guy, separating himself from being masculine and going, I need to identify with women or some bullshit, and then learning the rules of the women's group or the women's?
You know what? I just read the whole circle. You know what this sounds like? It sounds like the feminist journey.
Yes, it's closer to that.
It's not the woman's journey. It's the feminist's journey. It's not a heroine, it's the feminist. Because there's we know this from the hippie era. Lots and lots of feminists who all went for the soy boys of their era. Because they're so emotional.
Yeah.
And they reject men or went man hating altogether because they were told to. And of course hate their bras and burn them and all that nonsense.
Oh, God.
And later on, 10, 20 years later on, you would meet the same women and all married, all to buff guys, all several children, all having embraced their feminine sides and their sexiness, at least for their man. And all the feminist bullshit is gone because they realized that was making them miserable. And you see that journey even reflected in this somewhat.
It's hard to, for me as a guy who studied some literature and looking at this and going, I can't think of any books that do this.
Yeah. This is just. And
I'm not talking about just about
feminist fantasy.
Yeah, I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about like male stories for men. Like I just can't. There's no pattern I can match this up with. And the only thing that comes close is that men need to buff up to become strong, to face the fear or face the whatever they're overcoming, like we see with the Karate Kid. He has to actually physically get stronger and train to get skills to fight in the upcoming tournament. So, but that's not identifying with the feminine. That would be identifying with the masculine. So that would be inverse. So if you had to identify with women and be like, what is feminine about martial arts? I mean, there could be some female forms, I guess, training, but how would that translate to this kind of concept? So I can't really think of one example where a male has to be not male or not masculine. Mm-hmm. Is forced to become feminine and then goes, duh, what am I doing? I have to go back to being me. And then off they go. So it's a strange very.
I can give you an example. It would be an abuse story.
Oh God, that's very specific.
Yes, but essentially that is what feminists are doing to women. They're telling them, don't be yourself, be something else, be the other sex.
Yeah.
Until you realize, oh, well, that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's get back to being me.
All right, let's keep going. Here's Tyler Preston for the donation. The villainous lover trope is now problematic. That's odd, especially how people Quentin absolutely love Catra from She-Ra reboot, despite ignoring how Catra caused the apocalypse, tortured Aldora's friends, and caused the death of Glimmer's mom. Okay. That doesn't sound like a good character. When we're talking about redemption, that is a very important plot in general for storytelling. So whether the villain is a lover or not is that's a bonus, I guess. It's more complicated.
Yeah. Redemption requires introspection, remorse, and not just which includes the wish to improve, to not repeat the mistakes, and at best to rectify the mistakes made, like correcting the broken world. The world that you broke, or the thing that you broke.
You're trying to.
And otherwise, there cannot be redemption. You have to do all these things.
You're going through this need for sorrow, and you don't know how to. Even that's probably one of the only personal steps on the one side of the individual. He's trying to say, "I'm sorry," and he doesn't know how to do that. And identifying with his own feelings, it's more of an internal issue at times, because once the internal is dealt with, you don't need redemption. It's more of a yearning to achieve some unknown solution. And that's the great thing about redemption, is there is no end goal. It's just when does this pain go away? When do I realize?
When you change.
Yeah, but
when your internal algorithmic errors are fixed.
But that character can never come to that realization, and you can just keep this story going on forever as they just keep journeying through.
Yeah, that would be that is what we call irredeemable.
In their own heart, yes. Which is fascinating.
Yeah, and in that case, or in general, the words "I'm sorry" alone, without any of this internal stuff, without any application of action, means nothing. It is abusive, manipulative people will often say, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and then do it again and again and again. Words alone don't mean shit. And they know that.
All right, let's go.
Learned the boys' club in order to get by in a man's world, only to feel a yearning to reconnect with the things associated with femininity. But you don't just go back to the innocence of it. Your tastes obviously change as you age, and your experiences greatly affect the sort of media that you want to consume.
Excuse me, have you seen The Feminine Mystique? I've lost my copy.
My question is, in the first place, why would you want to be part of the man's world, dear woman? A world where you die on the battlefield for the whims of people more powerful than you, where you are exploited by your peers and the other sex for even more, especially when they are not mentally stable or not grown up. Which isn't to say that there are no good individuals, but that's mainly it. As a man, you're usually the butt of the joke, and the only humor that really works well is self-deprecating humor. Is that the world you want to live in? Really? While as a woman, you're venerated simply for being a woman. You're not punished for being a woman. You're venerated. I don't get why you would want to be part of or why you would want to be in a man's world, as you call it, as a man. You are in the privileged position, literally. At least in the Western world. It's just I don't understand why these women want this. I think they're just being brainwashed into thinking all this stuff, or it's just. Or they just see men do this, men do that, and they want it too, on top of what they can do themselves. I don't know. Is it greed? Is it jealousy? I don't get it.
Either that, or she's talking about the world in general is a man's world, and you're like, what do you mean? What context is that a man's
Not
world?
in custody battles.
Well, I think we mean in general, like financially or socially or whatever the hell she's talking about.
Okay, let's go back 200 years. In most parts of the world, or in Norse culture as well as in Asian culture, the man earns the money, and the woman does the bookkeeping for the family. She allocates the money.
Right.
That was usually the distribution of roles to keep the family working. So all this stuff today, I don't get it. I don't know where they get this from.
I'm still curious why she had to equate the the concept of a theoretical idea for a pattern in storytelling, which I still can't find in the actual books I've read, to her life. And that's when we go, okay, slow down. Let's not try to equate these two things, which don't have, to me, an actual literary example, and then say, oh yeah, this is me, I'm a woman, I've gone through this. It's like, whoa, really? Okay. It sounds as if it's more like the feminist journey as opposed to some theoretical concept for writing a book. But anyway.
Does she ever give examples?
She hasn't yet, unless these are the examples on the show or on the screen, but she's not explaining that. So they're just a bunch of films with clips. So anyway.
Now, I find myself wanting to consume media that exaggerates these themes, that plays with them on a level that is knowingly and unabashedly fun. I wanted love stories on the level of The Fast and the Furious, but instead of cars and stunts and unbelievable but fun actiony tropes, they'd be soaked in over-the-top romantic tropes like accidental kisses, reverse harem, one bed, one blanket, and forbidden love. I wanted the angst and the conflict to be so over the top that I would simultaneously laugh and cry, truly feeling both emotions at once. I've talked about the heroin.
That does sound like fetishism.
I'm not sure exactly what she's talking about. What does she want?
It does sound like she's. It's yeah. Well, she's not reading stories or watching movies for the stories. She's just reading it for the scenes that she likes, that for what they do, for the tropes. And when you read something for the tropes only, that is fetishism. You fetishize those things. You don't care about the rest of the stuff. You care about getting to that. It's like reading a sex novel to get to the part where it says dig this, dig that, throbbing, glistening, and so on, where all these words come up. That's what she's doing, but for emotions.
She described a very sensationalistic story, or movie rather, which is The Fast and the Furious, which is all about fast cars doing crazy stunts, and she wants
she sees a love story in that. That sounds like Norality seeing the gay shit everywhere.
Yeah, no, she wants to turn the cars into relationships, like a bombastic, melodramatic romance story of I don't know what the hell.
So not Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's basically melodramatic romance, over the top. Okay, Harlequin. I'm guessing Harlequin romance with like more expensive vistas, and people and lifestyles and all these relationships, all these interconnected things going. And you're like, okay, so you want drama, you want melodrama, you want a bunch of bullshit, crappy stories that you could buy at the bookstore for like $5 or whatever the hell it is. Okay, I mean there is a demand for that. I don't know about the films. Do those films exist? Do women want to see those films? I don't know. I've never seen one, so maybe they're out there, but they usually exist in book format that you get at the bookstore. And there's all kinds of authors, female authors, that write that crap. So she's just admitting, I have feelings which are sexual, and I like reading Harlequin romance. You're like, okay, I'm with you so far. It makes sense. Anyway.
journey before on this channel, but I always keep coming back to it. Maureen Murdoch justified my desires and gave me the tools to discover myself again and again. Recently, I wanted to do a video on my favorite romantic arc, enemies to lovers, but I quickly realized it wasn't just enemies to lovers that needed to be discussed. The enemies to lovers trope typically comes along with two other tropes I also love, the villainous crush and love redeems. All three together rarely happen in Western media, but they will get so close to it happening that individuals who see themselves in those characters will go write them where all these things actually do occur. You know, fanfic, it's great. These tropes also occur in a lot of...
No, you're just a fetish reader.
It's trash. It's absolute trash. It's supposed to be trash. That's why it's fan fiction. You can do whatever you like.
Yes.
No standards.
You write fan fiction for yourself for the most part.
Yeah.
If you would write it for other people, really, with that in mind as your primary goal, you would want to write higher quality. And for fan fiction is a great way to start writing if you don't have many ideas of your own yet, or if you don't want to are apprehensive about going at your own ideas with the being conscious of your limited skill.
Yeah,
like you don't want to fuck up the actual gem you think you have.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the best start, but if you have nothing else to think about, fan fiction is good because you have characters you already know, and then you could write your own stuff, which is fine. But
you can do it as a writing exercise,
playing
around with characters.
If you want to go the exercise route, just do short stories and read short story books or anthologies and see how they work, because you're going to get such a wide range. And that's the best thing for a writer is not to write, it's to read. You need to understand why books work the way they do, why characters are the way they are, why genres are attractive to people. And the best way, for me at least, that I've learned is to read short story anthology, because you get a small little 20-page experience, and it could be completely wild or it could be completely mundane. And it's just whatever you get out of that is great. And then you figure out what you can do with those ideas. Because if you start doing fan fiction, you're going to be like, all right, I like science fiction, I like Star Trek, I'm going to write a Star Trek fanfic, and then I'm going to write a Star Trek novella. And then you're just going to keep writing and it's all science fiction, which is fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn to get better, you have to break out of your mold and read stuff you normally wouldn't. And ultimately, that will influence your writing. So
yeah. Even if you don't like crime stories, it helps reading a good crime story.
That's the
You
best.
will find elements in there. It doesn't mean you will write a crime story, but you will find elements in there that you will think, that fits perfectly into the thing I don't know how to continue.
Yeah, it's definitely a great benefit to know the ins and outs of different kinds of stories, even though the one you do is like a more of an in a limited way.
Oh yeah, like imagine you want to write a story for Power Rangers, which is not a big complicated story, but you're gonna make the characters deep. You're gonna make them more human. You're gonna make them more flawed, and that's what you should be doing in your stories anyway. So you're gonna write a story for kids, but you're going to give them some more meat to eat, to chew on, some more interesting character. Like that's what I'd love to see is all these stuff for kids, and just, have it be written by a good writer who's going to do clever things.
Even with super basic beginners rules, like have 3 attributes for every character. And to which helps you guide the story, or just if you throw these characters into a situation, going by those attributes, or whether it's goals or something, or whatever drives them.
Yeah.
Drive character attribute goal, and you just throw them into a scene, into a room. Can be a blank room, for fuck's sake, and that alone will create a story.
It's kind of like creating an AI that goes off and does its own thing, because it's a person. You're trying to write a person, but you're using a persona for a character, and you should have a good idea of what that character is. And even if it changes throughout the story, you have to write it that way so they do change into something you want at that point. And that is the art of writing, getting a character from one stage in their life to another. It doesn't matter if it's I love red sauce on pizza. Now I love green sauce. How did you get there? That's a story. And it could be a side character. It doesn't matter how cosmetic it is, how stupid it is. That is part of their personality. That is part of their characterization. And that is one of the key elements of writing, is characterization. But I'm not going to teach you about that. It's not important right now. We're going to keep going. So,
yeah. Reading fan fiction is mainly indulging in what you already know, what you've already experienced. You want more of it. And that's why I attribute it to it, especially the way she does it, because she's only there for the emotional high. And she seems to be very, very, very much focused on that.
Yeah,
getting that emotional high from these over-the-top scenes and always the same tropes.
Yeah.
That is a fetish.
I think when
she
she grows
addicted
older
to those things.
Yeah, when she grows older and her emotions are less whatever, she's going to like reading books that are about interesting things like history and what people did 200 years ago and why and what was the background behind getting married in a certain part of the world.
Usually when people's hormones change a bit,
yes.
when the libido goes down with,
I think so,
with
yeah.
age.
I think
because
that's a natural thing.
That frees up your brain from
yeah,
wanting to be horny all the time.
Everyone knows
she wants to be horny all the time.
Yeah, what she's talking about is crap. These are crap stories, and she wants a Fast and the Furious version of that, but for women with romance. And you're just like, I don't know.
I don't know. Watch a horse movie then. That's what horse movies are.
Anyway, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Romance novels and in young adult or new adult books. Also in a lot of webtoons. Stuff that's made by women for women. Unsurprisingly, these tropes are considered problematic because they don't show so-called healthy romantic relationships.
Who calls them that?
But I think people misinterpret what these tropes actually
mean. What the hell is going on?
Everything in story has a potential metaphor, intentional or not. And what I like to do is get at the heart of what a theme or trope actually means to the person writing it or to the person consuming it. Now, before we really get into it, let's define some of these terms. Enemies to lovers.
I mentioned this before, or last time even, I think. Lots of the Asian dramas, which is basically soap operas, but contained within a season or two. So they do have endings. And many of them are very cheaply shot. And that's what that was. It's a bit like improv. The really bad ones. So that wasn't private footage or something. That was an actual series. She had the title in the lower left corner. I haven't seen that one, but in particular. And I think what she's just going about is this enemies to lovers thing. In this case, is the, which I think is noted in, is it in Campbell or was it in something else? The heroine, the heroine's journey, the actual one, the female hero's journey, is the tame the beast thing. Because you have this which is why women are so much into stories where the man is a pirate or a gangster or a vampire, because those are monsters. Those are monsters, and she's going to fix him. She's going to tame him and turn him into a proper man. And when that happens in reality, and I think the helper's complex of nurturing the wounded man is a similar adaptation of the same thing, fixing the man. And once she's done that, the man she loses interest in the man, because now the man is doesn't have the trait that made him interesting to her anymore. She doesn't have a job anymore in fixing him, because she fixed him or changed him. And then the complaint comes, "You're not like you used to be." Yeah, because you changed the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's I don't know why, who calls that problematic, because it's just that's the standard thing.
Yep, there's a few sub-tropes of romance between enemies. I mean, you could even argue the entire romance genre, the conflict in a romance is the protagonist, the male, and the antagonist, the female, and he's trying to woo her, and she's like, no, and they keep fighting over that concept of getting together or not getting together, and he does something that interests her, or she's interested in him for some. There's all kinds of patterns for this. It's like
it's also I think this is even this whole thing is also just a subset of star-crossed lovers.
Yeah,
like Romeo and Juliet. You have they're from enemy families, but they love each other, but they shouldn't love each other. And the wonderful woman loving the beast is essentially the same thing.
It's a part of that, I would argue, because there's a conflict there. But we could take any kind of like stupid tension, sexual tension, that could be all it is. And because they're constantly butting heads over and over again, and they keep seeing how strong and passionate and confident each of the other are, they suddenly realize, hey, we disagree on everything, but you're really attractive right now, and you could stand with me and argue, and we've been doing this for years or whatever. Like, that's a basis for a relationship right there. So there's all kinds of ways to explain romance and why it happens. And I don't know all the patterns myself, because they can be as dumb as like, what's that dumb Zelda cartoon where he keeps saying, "Excuse me, princess," and obviously we know he likes her, but he's always like getting badgered by her, and he's always hitting her back. I only
saw that as a kid, and Ganon was
the dumb Zelda
really
cartoon.
stupid.
No, you mean the only Zelda cartoon.
Yeah. I think that was a U.S. production.
Oh yeah,
it was.
That was bad. It was fun to watch though, but as a kid, you're like, this is ridiculous. But the fact that he knows he likes her, she kind of likes him. They're sort of working together to save the kingdom from whatever stupid thing. But they always,
because it's a U.S. cartoon, they can't get together.
They can't kiss. They
just
can't
has
do
to be
this.
the same Saturday morning bullshit.
I mean, to be fair, the games aren't that much better with it.
No. But that's kind of the.
I can go on a armchair psychology rant about Julia and what she's doing to Link. And technically is oh god.
All right,
that would be a fun stream.
What are you talking about?
Let's not jump into your fetish there, Wisp. Okay, we're fine.
No, that's not a fetish. I mean, if you look at you, just play Skyward Sword and tell me what you think about Julia's plan and her crush on this random guy.
Okay.
And what she puts him through these hundreds of reincarnations.
Okay.
She's dead though. What are you talking about?
All right. Here is the Swedish chef. Is this Womb Lady? Yes, it is. You got it. This is the Womb Lady.
Womb Lady? What have I missed?
Oh,
forgotten.
The real question. Sorry, go ahead.
There are was it 5 or 6 wombs in The Last Jedi?
What?
In case you didn't know.
What?
What? You didn't know
wombs?
That? No, there's at least 5 of wombs in The
Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Wombs?
Symbolic wombs.
What?
I know. It's amazing, right? I had no idea either.
You mean the female actors?
The female anatomy. The uterus.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I can't
you mean
answer
because
that
there's
question.
a hole Ray jumps into and the big red room and shit like that?
You got it. Yeah, you're right. That's it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She's amazing.
And the cave on Crate.
The caves, the tree, the throne room. Yeah, she's amazing. This woman is crazy.
Oh, the red. Okay.
Here's
also Wisp. The question isn't what Highlander puts
and then
links through.
Snoke is then the aborted child.
I know.
That's pretty good.
No,
Didn't think of that before.
Writes itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
well.
Once you understand the crazy, it writes itself.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, before we move on, the question is not what Hylia puts Link through, it's what she puts herself through in reincarnating a fuck ton of times.
Yeah, but the fucking guy she loves, she never gets together with. He keeps dying for her over and over and over again.
Hell are you talking about? This ain't Greek mythology, it's Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Okay, here's Mike Testis. Smud, are you talking about the Legend of Zelda capitals and then TM?
TM, trademark,
yes. Yes, I am. Not talking about some other property at all. No. Okay. Anyway, let's go.
is a trope where two on different sides of a struggle or conflict fall in love. This has many possibilities and can range from being passive,
The Witcher?
simply on opposite sides of a conflict or battle, to an actively trying to kill each other. It does differ from rivals to lovers, but not metaphorically.
It's you. Just please remove him from my sight.
What have you done to her?
Me? It's her.
Ha!
Rivals to lovers is where you have two people who just generally don't like one another.
I loathe you.
I loathe you.
But say you have a story about a young girl who transfers to a new school and catches the eye of a bully. The stakes are high for a modern drama. They make a stance against one another. He fights her, she fights back. In this setting, this could be considered enemies to lovers. It all sort of comes down to the level of antagonism between the characters. When this is done intentionally, when the two are definitely, by the writer's own plan, going to end up together, it almost doesn't matter the level of antagonism, because there's usually a sense of intrigue, typically on the part of the male character. He wants her, but he doesn't know how to have her. And because he is emotionally immature, he acts in a way that pushes her away. From a romance novel perspective,
girl,
We know that the hero-
woman with the mind of a girl. You shouldn't talk about emotional immaturity. Holy shit. You are what? You are what? 35? You look like 35, and you want to? You're still reading young adult books and fan fiction to get wet and jerk off to it emotionally. You are not emotionally mature.
Wow.
Because you indulge in this low tier fetish crap. Bloody hell!
This.
Sorry, I had to get that
Yeah,
out.
no,
Because that is so hypocritical. That is so hypocritical.
I
of her
don't
to
mind.
mention.
I don't mind whatever she reads. I just because we understand her. She's explaining her reasoning. It's like okay, yeah.
And I mean, yes, it is. It's not entirely wrong. The guys do have trouble talking to the girls, but that is partially also because the girls are insane.
Yeah, the girls aren't exactly.
Have you tried understanding a woman that is not emotionally mature?
They don't listen very well when you actually have some gift for talking. They sort of say, "What did you say?" It's like I'm trying to be clever. I'm like I have to like spell it out. I said something clever about your job in relation to what we're talking about. You didn't grasp that, so it's our men's genius and gift for socializing is lost on a lot of women. So.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing. But anyway, here's Mike Testa again. Snoke is a C-section gone wrong. Even the womb is open. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Funny enough, Assassin's Creed has a couple times where some of the couples in the series used to be enemies.
Yep. It's great. Mike Testa one more time. You mean she's not mature like The Legend of Zelda? No, she's about at the same level. Legend of Zelda's not about emotions for sure. It's not about relationships.
Sorry about that. It's like
I'd say Legend of Zelda is more mature than whatever she's doing.
Which one were you talking about? The original?
I'm not talking about that stupid US crap.
No, I'd say the more recent ones.
The original one, the side-scrolling isometric over the 45. What is it? What do you call the NES version?
The two.
That was the Legend of Zelda.
None of it's asymmetrical.
What asymmetric? You mean isometric?
No, isometric. Well, none of it's been that. It's always been like traditional 2D up, down, left, right.
Yeah, but
the closest I remember.
Yeah, but those the NES games were just the most basic of story.
Yeah, like
the NES games didn't have much space for story.
No.
It's only by the time of the N64 where the stories became a bit more like the focus.
Right. With I remember in A Link to the Past, which was still on the Nintendo, it was a side.
That was Super Nintendo.
No.
That was Super Nintendo. Yes.
Not A Link to the Past. It was Zelda 2.
Yeah, that was an actual side scroller.
Yeah.
That was
that had
a subset of jump and run.
At the ending, the curtain will fall, and it will fall just enough to see Link's legs, and then Princess Zelda comes over, and her legs are just overlapping with his, and that's it.
Yeah, but reminder that isn't the same Zelda from the first game. That's an ancestor.
It's also not the same Link.
No, it's the same Link. It is
It's
the same
Link?
It's a direct sequel, yes.
It's the same
It is
Link,
a
but
direct
another
sequel.
Zelda?
Yeah, because there's
What?
the whole bloodline, because it's a previous Princess Zelda, because all the princesses of the kingdom are named Zelda for some goddamn reason. And
Yeah, I think that's a religious thing.
1 and 2 is one of the ancestors. She was put to sleep by a spell, and Link has to wake her up.
Yeah.
So you could say is that a sister or aunt or mother of the other Zelda from the first game?
Great, I would say
Link, what are you doing?
I would say grandmother to be generous. Grandmother at the very least.
Link, what are you doing?
Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't call that mature either, but that's as close as I remember romance. And,
It's at least a hero gets the princess story.
something like that. Yeah. Anyway, here's this Feed This Chef. Next Star Wars movie will feature a lightsaber with a blade shaped like a coat hanger. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, we're 4 minutes and a half in. This is amazing. We're going by very quickly.
Pretty good.
Loves the woman all along, we the readers, even if the heroine is confused. And that's absolutely crucial. So that any kind of aggression that he exhibits towards her, or meanness, any kind of pain that he inflicts, is always in the service of love.
This push and pull that happens between these characters is actually the best part of the tropes, to me. You get a ton of stuff to play with from a storytelling perspective.
Okay, as you can see, she loves Asian cinema, so I have no idea what these stories are. I couldn't tell you.
She loves Asian cinema because it's full of these completely overblown, hyper emotional soap dramas. To best describe it, I think that was a Chinese one. Imagine the most tacky, cliche, schlocky version of a scene of a girl standing outside the door of a bus, and her guy just stepped in, and it's pouring rain, like these meter long raindrops.
Mm-hmm.
And she's reaching out her hand, and he's reaching out his hand, and the bus door closes, and the bus slowly drives off, and she's standing there in the rain without an umbrella. And that's all these shows. Every scene, every dialogue is that is what Chinese, Japanese, Korean dramas are. They're all that, all the time. That's why she watches that, because that is exactly what keeps her going.
Same shit.
Anyway.
Is when you look at the push and pull as something that occurs within oneself. More on that in a bit. Villainous crush is a trope where the romantic interest is a villain, an antagonist, or just a bad boy.
He doesn't love Ray. She doesn't love him.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what feelings they have for each other, but it's certainly not love.
It's never developed. We have no idea what's going through their heads.
Yeah. They maybe got some eros going, the way that Rian Johnson ruined his bullshit movie.
Yeah, well.
For all we know, it's the Force writing its own fan fiction.
Yeah, it's the Force bringing them together. Why?
Right. No, it was Snoke. Didn't Snoke say that he made the telepathic link between the two?
But after
that also means Snoke was watching that all the time.
Well, wait a
Probably
second.
jerking off to it.
Wasn't the dyad some magical thing that's super rare? And because
that was also made up.
I know.
Rian Johnson destroyed the physics of Star Wars, the mysticism of Star Wars, and just added random shit of his own without any care in the world. And now we're supposed to be stuck with that and get games trying to justify that. Like what was that?
Yeah.
That last one?
Yeah, he definitely single-handedly made something so much worse than midi-chlorians.
I'm trying to
God.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it like the Boring Company from Elon Musk. He wants to build underground transit ways or whatever, and he starts digging, and all of a sudden he starts digging like a few feet, and all of a sudden, hey, there's a big hole in the ground, and he realizes there's already a giant tunnel under the ground. Where did that come from? You know, it's kind of like my work is done for me. Thank you, JJ.
Oh, so he just used yeah.
It makes no sense. It's like, how did that happen? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pretty dumb either way.
Yeah, this is retarded.
Yeah.
The intrigue for this trope goes hand in hand with the previous. A lot of people like to say women are intrigued by the bad boy because of the desire to nurture and change him. And this is maybe 30% of the explanation, depending on who you ask.
Oh no,
the bad boy typically will have
more.
traits that are at odds with the heroine. She's a good girl who does as she is told, whereas
No, it's way more than 30%, because what the bad boy offers. Sorry, what did you say?
Off. No, it's like this is way off. It's like going off of your point. Yeah.
Yeah, because what the bad boy offers is adventure. The girl gets out of her boring, maybe even prestigious life, because nothing is worse than boredom. And since women have a hard time going on adventures of their own, for various reasons, like being the target of assault very easily when they're alone in the wild, being with the man is tagging along to his adventure. And by being supportive of the man, you can ensure that the adventure is going well. The man's having an adventure, the woman tags along. That's what happens.
Yeah. That has happened in life. Here is Francis Bordacopla. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for the donation. This woman got real excited for when she turned 18 because it meant she could finally watch adult porn? I don't know.
Probably.
Also, people who think Kylo Ren and Rey are a good romance get into abusive relationships.
I would believe that.
There's
people
nothing
who believe
there.
that is even a relationship do not understand relationships.
It doesn't make any sense. They hate each other. They want to kill each other, and then I want to train you because you don't know how to use your powers.
Yes, it resembles a borderline relationship quite a lot. Yeah,
it's silly. Anyway, let's
probably why the SJWs like it, because cluster B personality disorders are rampant among SJWs.
Yeah, well,
they see themselves reflected in that, so they like it.
Well, SJWs are fucked in the head anyway, so whatever.
All right. Let's go.
he is a professional maker. He seduces her, sometimes unintentionally.
Perhaps you just want to learn the monster's weaknesses.
Oh, I think
that
this was
guy?
the role where... Yeah, that guy. I think that was his debut role, where he... Or was he in Was he in Battlestar? No.
He was in Stargate.
No, that was Stargate.
Yeah.
Stargate Universe. Stargate Universe was later, I think. This was his debut role. He was playing Rumpelstilzchen in this soap opera that started interesting and then just went on repeatedly, always returning to its Saturday morning nonsense, and mainly just showing the protagonist in different dresses in every episode. That got really annoying. But for a time, it was an interesting story because it did the fairy tales are real in a parallel world. It's basically reverse isekai. And I forgot his name again. I really like his acting, but he's not. I think typecast is not the word, I think. But he's basically always playing the character of Rumpelstilzchen in his human form. That he's played the same character in Stargate Universe. He's played the same character in something else I saw him. He's always playing that character. It's like the guy who played Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
When you had him in Mandalorian, he played essentially the same character. This is the first thing I saw this guy in, and
I like him. He's a good actor, but when he has to play all the same stuff all the time, it gets annoying. I think he has way more range than that.
I don't think I saw 1 or 2 episodes of Once Upon a Time where this is like the first one he takes part in, and he has to make a deal. Like he wants the son, or he gets the money, or I can't remember what the hell it was. The deal was, because Once Upon a Time is basically just get a whole bunch of mythological nursery rhyme characters and have them try and survive in this world. I don't think he's a lover. I don't think it's a romance story with him. I think he's the
Oh no. He has an actually interesting. They did write an interesting story for him. He has a crush on Belle from
Beauty and the Beast.
What's it? Beauty and the Beast. Yes. And is trying to is trying to help her, although since the powers he got screwed him up in the head. That's a bit. It's a bit of a little psycho story. However, in the human world, this stuff is repressed in him, and he's more relatable. He's less insane. In when the stuff comes out, he's more like Loki. He's the original Loki. He's more like the trickster all the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
It is fun. There are fun times. The early seasons of this show are watchable.
Him, but he's not a romantic character. I don't remember that at all. So maybe it's later in the...
Well, you watched 2 episodes. Shut up.
Yeah, but how long does it go on for? How long does it take to get...
I watched 5 seasons of this crap until it turned into unbearable, repetitive shit.
Yeah, I'm not going to
I watched it till my eyes bled.
I'm not going to hang around that long. It's too much for me.
Jesus.
I binge watched this until I couldn't bear it anymore because everything that was good about it stopped happening.
What? So you wanted to suffer?
No, it was interesting. I like this. I like the idea of this doing the Grimm's fairy tales in real life and meshing them together and having them cross over. That is something that was done in. I think there was a German series that did this in the early 2000s. It was pretty good. And then there was there was even one from the 80s. I think it was surprisingly good. It even had characters like Fantomas in it. Who was the king of the adult fairy tale land. Are you familiar with Fantomas?
It sounds very familiar. Fantomas.
Fantomas is a crime villain who can disguise as anyone. That's kind of his thing. So he was there for action movies, but he's kind of he has somewhat of a superpower.
Huh.
Then in the early 2000s there was something called the 10th Kingdom, and that also did all this crossover with the fairy tales are real in a different dimension. And I remember in the 10th Kingdom the Troll King was played by names. I was so happy that I remembered his name once. By Al Bundy. And he had 2 idiot children, a boy and a girl, and he had magical shoes. It was kind of the joke. This was a reference to Married with Children. He had, for example, the 7 Mile shoes and lots of other magical shoes in his castle. 10th Kingdom was kind of enjoyable as a kid.
All right, here is 0. So what you are saying, Wisp, is that women shouldn't go backpacking alone in Pakistan.
Yes. Men shouldn't do that either, by the way. But women should do it even less.
Okay.
If you go on an adventure in the real world, we are past the age of explorers. We know what's out there. If you go on an adventure, at least try to know something in advance about where you're going. Then it's less likely you get mugged, raped, and murdered. because you only have one life. You don't respawn, and you can't go back to your corpse to retrieve that lost XP and souls that you had.
RPG analogy. All right. Here's Swedish Chef. Thank you again. So basically, Elon Musk in your analogy is like Mass Effect Andromeda trying to colonize worlds and discovering that there are magical terraforming buttons. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. I was trying to make the joke with J.J. Abrams just going, okay, I'll work with this. And thanks, Ryan, for inventing this Forspawn, which is now this mythical thing that was always there, which is better than what I thought it was. But anyway, here's Mike Testa. No, not into the pit. It burns. Okay.
Denmark.
Here is Francis Bordacova for the donation. We'll get on with the video. Once Upon a Time also became a blatant marketing tool over time. I do remember a lot of marketing, yeah. I don't think it was bad marketing, though. It incorporated Wicked, Frozen, etc. Also, their hackneyed trend of making the villain redeemable for old really fast. Felt old really fast? Also, all the characters were pretty darn whiny. I liked the premise. It was an interesting premise. It was well shot with good acting and good sets. So I liked, all the actors were great. But something felt off, and I don't know what that was. And that's why I never kept watching it. Something was just not for me. So anyway, there's all kinds of shows like that just don't click for many reasons, and I don't bother to investigate. Anyway, let's go.
You're not a monster.
Sometimes she doesn't realize she's being seduced. Again, this is a metaphor, which I will get to. The third trope is love redeems. Another so-called problematic trope. This is the one where love saves the villain or the bad boy.
So?
Problematic. What is Why do they call everything problematic?
What's wrong with love redeeming another character? That's part of redemption arcs. You could do that.
Oh, does she use the word problematic as a stand-in for guilty pleasure?
With her, I have no idea. It could be anything. Her flavor of femininity is so obscure.
Because I do not understand what is bad about these things.
I think they're good, actually. I think having love redeeming is a pretty cool story.
Of course.
Anyway. Mike Testa's back. Hey, Mike. You mean you can't bear it missing the newest episode of The Legend of Zelda? Well, excuse me, Smud Boy, you need dick in your life. What? What are you talking about? DIC? Oh, is that the publisher?
The production company, Deke Entertainment. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that. That was Mike, clever, huh? Clever. Sometimes you're crazy, but that one.
Given Mike Testa's usual grammar, I honestly thought he said DLC.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. Don't question me on that.
Is there Legend of Zelda DLC out there? I've never heard of.
For Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, the DLC is fun. It actually adds some dungeons that are finally somewhat interesting.
And it also fixes because of the way that game works, the Master Sword, you can't use it forever. If you do a certain DLC store expansion, you can use a Master Sword forever, the way you should. Because everything breaks in that game. The way they explain with the Master Sword is it runs out of energy. Stupid.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, but but they did introduce that because otherwise it messes with all the other. Because you get out of the tutorial area and you get the Master Sword because you can just walk to it. Yeah. And that would break all the other
but the
elements
DLC
of the game.
The DLC makes up for that. The DLC still lets you use it forever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, and because it still needs to regenerate some, I think. Yeah. No, it gets stronger.
It's like you do a boss fight at the end of the DLC, and then it gets the power to like be used without any kind of rest.
No. The boss fight gives you the motorbike.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. That's a really cool boss fight. That's finally a cool boss fight in the game, because all the other boss fights are just pathetic.
And all the boss
look
fights
nice.
Few fights.
They look nice, but that fight and to get the Master Sword upgraded. I first played that on hard. I was out of the game for a long time, and I didn't want to go to normal mode. And yeah, that's I have to lower my head in shame. I still haven't done the Master Trials because I'm out of the fighting system. I would need to get into that, so I probably would need to restart the game from the beginning to get back into that. Because on hard, it's sounds silly, but it's not easy because all the enemies are one level higher. Just to give you an example of what the Master Trials are, and I'd say even the beginner trials are the hardest. So the idea is you get into a set of rooms, one after another, with a challenge. And you start without any equipment. All your equipment is stripped from you. You keep the buff you had when you got in, so that's one thing you can do. And you have your smartphone abilities. And that's it. So you get in to the first room, and you're naked. And over there is a campfire with 3 bokoblins, which have, I think the normal ones have like 20 HP. But on hard mode, everything is one level higher, so they're blue bokoblins instead of red, and so they have 52 HP. And if you don't hit an enemy for, I think, 3 seconds, it starts regenerating slowly.
Yeah.
And you have no weapons. You have no weapons, and in front of you is a twig. So the developers have a sense of humor. In front of you is a twig. A twig does 2 damage and breaks after 3 hits.
Yeah, at that point, that
Good
kind of
luck.
shit is standard to open world games nowadays. At that point,
Yeah.
there's always that one part of the game where they strip you down completely, and you actually gotta think instead of just blazing through everything.
Oh yeah, I like Breath of the Wild has a few of those, and there's one island in the southeast corner of the map, and that is really amazing. If you would put that out just as a demo of the game, that would all you would need to do. That island was one of the most fun things in the game for me.
Okay.
Maybe for the sequel, if that island comes back.
All right.
They do it in a different area.
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Problematic trope. This is the one where love saves the villain or the bad boy. A lot of people say that love shouldn't redeem, and that heroines shouldn't be tasked
says
with having
that?
to save the bad boy. And yeah, femininity is not a magical power, even though it is sometimes perceived in that way. But the journey to love does require you to self-explore
it screws.
in a way.
It is a magical power because it screws men's brains to the point where they stop thinking and start selling out their friends for psychopaths. I think you need magic powers in order to achieve that, and that is, that's boob and pussy magic. Simple as that.
Oh, okay.
Woman doesn't need anything else to achieve that.
So, Star Wars.
I don't know where that applies.
It can lead to an immense change. I think Love Redeems works best when you see a metaphor and a greater journey happening underneath the surface. And this is one way to look at it. Now, when I set out to map...
What the...
Oh God! What I just said is you can also say in that sense that love corrupts when it's one-sided or when you're tricked into it. But yeah, let's get at this thing.
Separation from innocence. This is the same shit.
It's just not in a circle.
What the hell is this? You just chopped it up. Moving goalposts. Bad boy changes the rules. Tests and trials. Challenge passed. What the hell is moving goalposts?
Is this shit?
What the hell is this?
It's just part of the circle and some other stuff.
What is
pushed into it?
Why is it going down and up? Like, what is dramatic structure? Like, what are you doing, lady?
Yeah, that's supposed to be a visualization of the descent.
But why? Like, what? How is accepting a challenge going down? Is it a loss?
Yeah, and especially challenge past. How's that going down?
How is confronting the Dark Mother getting better? How is that an increase in fortune? When we talk about dramatic
no. Confronting the Dark Mother, that's the lowest point.
Yeah, but how is it?
That's where you have to face the villain. After that, it gets up.
Okay, so this is like an inverted Freytag's pyramid then? Because all the danger stuff is the climax, and then we go back up. It's
just the green part is the descent into hell. That's the equivalent to it. That's why it's down.
All right, let's hear her explain this. This is so weird.
This journey, I decided to use The Heroine's Journey by Maureen Murdoch as a sort of guide. I always thought that love stories are heroic tales, and this was a good opportunity to show that. To review, Maureen Murdoch set out to write a journey that would provide more of a feminine context to Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. I look at it as an extension of the hero's journey because I see it as essential to breaking away from the masculine warrior myth that we all have thrust upon us in the West.
It's not a warrior myth. What are you talking about? How is the hero's journey? It doesn't have to be a physical war. What is that even?
Yeah, she misunderstands it. Just like that woman who made this shit up, who was that you mentioned that was disagreeing with Campbell, misunderstood it. A woman can go through the same hero's journey. That is possible. But it's not something forced.
What even is the definition of a warrior myth? Are we talking like Amazons? Are we talking a hero has to fight an empire and has to become a soldier? Like what?
It's just the hero has to fight villain, or person has to become hero by confronting villain and beating it and then wisening up.
If you want to be that generic, everything's a warrior myth because you're fighting something. There's conflict. You have to face it.
Exactly. What she didn't get, as the other woman, is that she didn't understand that what Campbell describes in the hero's journey is a meta narrative. That is that's the concept on a meta level. It is generalized. It's hyper generalized.
Yeah.
And that's why it's applicable to everything. But what she sees is something specific, one specific application of it. And that is why she disagrees with it, because she says, oh, but there are other things too. Yeah, if you understood that this is a generalized thing, you wouldn't need to come up with your bullshit.
Okay. I think I know what's going on here. She thinks she found something out and she's going to use this other concept as a backbone and she's going to just take it and make her own thing. It's like, all right, fine. I could see what she's trying to do.
Oh, straw man.
Well, she's inventing her own argument. And you're like, all right, that's fine. It's not gonna lend itself to anything new. Like we're not gonna learn anything from this. We're just gonna be looking at her going, no, that's wrong. There's so many interpretations. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. Oh, and small anecdote. When Neil Gaiman first heard of Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is Campbell's book about the hero's journey, he said he was scared to ever read it. He never wanted to read it because he feared he could never write another story after it.
Yeah.
Because he would be reminded that everything is the same.
Yep. That's one way of looking at when people don't want to write, or they are writers and they get writer's block, they question their own value and quality of writing. So when they realize that, oh, this story has been told before and I've been inspired by it before by some other writer, you're going to get into this rut of what is new and original, because there's all these dumb people. What we want something new. There's nothing new about this genre or this time period or this subgenre. It's like, no. The writer can do whatever they like, so long as they know what they're doing within that genre, within that time period.
Yeah. And look how much the isekai subgenre developed in
applications and in interesting ideas and concepts.
The rules, the tropes
always something
in that genre itself are so strict that the level of quality has to be so high that they cannot publish crap. Like it has to be high because there's so much coming out. So
yeah, I mean that's not Sturgeon's law, but I mean in the sophisticated stuff, all that really makes it is something that does something new with the baseline. You have the baseline, and then you do something completely unexpected new, a new application of it. Like what was it? The Villainous thing, like Ascension of a Bookworm, which has its contrivances, but it's a completely different application, at least in the beginning. Bam Fantasy World. These medieval people don't know how to make Japanese food. Let's make money with making Japanese food.
Yeah,
great. Oh, everyone loves it. Let's sell the rights to the recipe and getting shares on the marketing. That's great.
Okay, let's hear her go through her wonderful creation.
She says of this is that the feminine journey is about going down deep into the soul, healing and reclaiming, while the masculine journey is up and out to spirit. I'm going to be taking a lot of liberties with Murdoch's work, so I recommend checking out my video on a feminine power fantasy or reading the heroine's journey itself to really understand it. To best illustrate this arc, which I have named Villainous Lover Redeemed, I'm going to mostly use Meteor Garden 2018, which is a story that's been done over and over and over again for years. It's a classic, and there's a reason it's a classic. Also to note, it is written by a woman, which is very important for some of the points I will make. And of course, light spoilers for the show, obviously,
to you because you're a narcissist.
Asian dramas aren't really big about keeping a lid on spoilers. These two are so obviously going to tie the knot at the end. Let's see how they get there. The first step in this arc is a separation from innocence or safety. This could be losing a mother, it could be leaving a home.
That is not going to destroy the phone.
It could also be simply growing up. In Murdoch's journey, this happens usually when the woman is young and she must put aside so-called childish things in order to be successful in a man's world. But it could also occur when villains or a bad boy enters the heroine's world. This is what most often occurs in these romance stories. The heroine is challenged by this person. She's made to feel unsafe in her daily life. Her world is thrown out of balance because of this new presence. Not only is he a physical threat, but he tries to seduce her to his world, a world that is seemingly dangerous.
An adventure!
Most heroines are taken out of their states of innocence by a hero, like Snow White or Rapunzel. But I think being taken out of innocence by a villain is far more interesting. While the hero
original fairy tales,
masculine,
you get a different
heroic,
image.
And experienced partner, the villain provides a dark desire, a yearning for more power the woman does not believe she has or is worthy of. This character is metaphorically the woman's inner man, or the masculine sides of themselves, or the animus. I believe that the animus as a villain is far more accurate
works
to
better
represent
here.
this.
Yeah, it's Jungian stuff. Not everyone likes it, but it's accurate.
Specific pressures and expectations that are put on women. The villain helps her explore those deeper parts of her desires that she was told are evil, such as power, independence, rebelliousness, or sexual pleasure. After accepting the villain's challenge, the heroine decides...
Why did that look like a dumb anime? Like a stupid real life version.
Because it's you know this the art imitates life, life imitates art thing. This is art imitates art.
Oh, okay.
This is one medium imitating another.
It just
all these dramas, the way the shots are done is the way shots or scenes, perspectives are set up in anime.
Yeah, it's but
it's been that way for 2 decades.
A
now.
really dumb anime, like soppy romance anime crap with all the dumb patterns.
Yeah.
That you just don't care for. It's like, oh, they fell over and he has to go grab her, and oh, he grabbed too much, and oh, they fell together.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes. That's all this is. It's all these Asian dramas are essentially live action anime without an anime.
Oh, that sucks.
And that's why it appeals so much to these types of women, because oh, emotion.
Yeah.
To step into his world, and maybe not in the way he expected. This is her moment of crossing the threshold into the unknown. She begins to learn the rules of his world, the rules of the boys' club. Throughout this time, she is faced with many other tests and trials, people who tell her she's not strong enough, that she's getting in over her head.
I would rather say, not the boys' club, but the world at large. Because those are not just the rules of the boys' club; those are the rules of the world.
We could.
If you got, imagine, you got to, for some reason, enter the world of women and their rules, the whole bitch hierarchy shit. It works no different than any mafia. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, but she thinks it's different because it's the other sex. There is no real difference. Both is, in a sense, Machiavellian, just different applications of it, different connotations of it. But it's the same rules.
All right.
That's it.
She meets new friends who put her in new situations. This is also a gathering of allies in a sense. Maybe there's an attractive boy who has a much better reputation and would seemingly make a better match, who is there at every obstacle. But she's been challenged by this guy, and she's got to prove herself worthy in his world, regardless of how she feels about him. A note on abusive themes.
Because she's an
I'm
idiot.
attracted to power dynamics. Like, probably because I have felt weak in a lot of situations.
Abuse portrayed in these
What?
stories is a problem.
What was that about?
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, what the hell?
Was that a prior recording of hers, or what was
No,
that?
it sounded like someone else. But when we talk about these people talking about power dynamics, it's usually in relation to government or politics. Everything's a power struggle between the proletariat and blah, blah, blah.
Women like intrigue. They like intrigue stories, because that is that is what you can say is political power struggle. Can be on a private level,
Yeah,
if you
I know,
will,
but-
if you want to interpret it that way.
I know, but
And they like that because it gives them power in a hierarchical system, sets up a hierarchical system, in a way that is similar to what they see the men doing with physical prowess. Although the men do it more competitively in a more friendly manner for the most part. Like one proves his capabilities, and then it's more rare that someone's jealous and says, "Oh, I need to tear him down to be the best myself." No, they rather want to get better themselves. While women are more likely to tear down the one who's further up in the hierarchy.
They're trying,
because personal improvement doesn't help.
It seems like they're trying to achieve some sort of rules or laws, like by generalizing them, like the world of men, or as you say, you went even further, like the world at large. I would say, in that example, you have to understand what the hell the character is trying to do. And it's like she's playing cards. That's the world. That's his world, not the world of men or the world of gangsters. Or it's just he's an individual character in a story, and that's his thing. He plays cards or whatever the story is with that guy. I have no idea. What?
Yeah, go on.
That is the thing that we're focused on, because that gives us the information of what the hell she's trying to see in this guy. Like, what is this? Do you like cards? Do you want to learn from this guy? Does that excite you? Like, what's the big deal? Like, I want to know the details of this supposed drama and why it's worthy of note. Because if it's just she's attracted to him and he paints little fluffy puppies, and you're like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it would be dumb. And she has nothing to say about that. It's just, oh, that's what he likes, therefore I'm going to like him more. It's like, no, that's dumb. I want to know why she likes the fluffy puppies and why he likes painting them, and give me a reason. I don't care about the actual world that they set up in their setting, like the world building and all this crap. It's like, okay, yeah, he's a recluse. He doesn't go to class. He breaks things, and He's angry. He's got some problems at home. It's like, great. Okay, cool. He's got conflict. That's fine.
Yeah, so she wants to fix him, and she doesn't stick with the guy who's actually there for her.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is something that you see happening in all these affair stories in real life. Woman goes for the bad guy, while just essentially emotionally and in other resources exploiting the guy who's actually there for her, i.e. her husband, and in the sense before there's a marriage in that case. They want to go for the bad boy, and after they about men, it's often said that he just wants to how do you say that in English? Hörner abstoßen. Push out his horns or something. Don't know the English expression for that. After that, after that settles for a better girl. In the case of the girl, she does the same by going for the bad boy, and then later realizing, oh, now that I want a family, I actually want that guy that was there for me all the time. And this is a thing that Jord Kells in the chat put very apt, I think. Hero's journey, sex neutral or gender neutral. Heroine's journey, heavy sex or gender specific. So the hero's journey is neutral. The heroine's journey that she makes out is all about sex differences.
All right. Here is Smud did 9/11. Thank you. Oh my God. This person is just right in a wig with boobs. Same practices. They reference a book and take massive liberties to prove their point. Oh, no, she went further. She made her own weird chart. Use clips that don't line up with what they're saying. Yep. And talking in that soft voice for max emotional resonance. I think that's partly
I don't
true.
think she's talking deliberately in a soft.
No, yeah, you're right.
Deliberately soft voice. That's just a normal voice.
She's talking normally, and she actually believes this shit. Like she actually studied the book and made up her own stuff.
However, she does have a similarly far receded hairline as just right. Which is strange for a woman.
Anyway, let's keep going then.
I think the more epic these stories are, the more likely you are to see physical or violent conflict occur. For me, it's important to realize the purpose of the physical conflict. It's more palatable when the two are evenly matched. Playing with power imbalances in story can be empowering because in real life, we feel those power imbalances.
That's the stuff I'm talking about.
What the hell? What the frickin'... What the...
That's the stuff I'm talking about. This is absolute 1000% schlock.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
All of it.
Never mind.
All of it.
Let's not dwell. Keep going, please. I think we know what we're looking at.
Just you're looking into you're getting a glimpse of this world of media.
I don't even think anime would do that. The guy
exactly.
Yeah, it's worse than anime. With anime, it's fun. With anime, it's cute and silly because it's supposed to be a joke. This is like this is serious.
I mean, there are at least some bearable ones. Like, I think the first one, because one of the guys in our translation group was a fan of that series, and so we all had to watch it. Was Summer Snows, very early J drama, and it was bearable. Very schlocky ending, but bearable. This shit here, oh god.
Yeah, it's not. Anyway, let's just keep going, please.
Yes, please.
So basically, societal imbalances we experience in real life can simply translate into physical imbalances in the story. I've personally written some pretty violent conflict between my characters in my fiction, and it always seemed like it was for the purpose of discovering my own inner power. From the perspective of a woman writing these themes...
That's not why you write. You don't write to discover your feelings. That's retarded.
What? You write a diary for that.
You write because you've already experienced things. You are knowledgeable on a subject, and you're expressing it in a clever and unique way. You don't I am a psychopath after I figured out how to kill people 13 different ways without getting caught. No, you don't come to those conclusions. That's not how murder mystery is written. You have to actually know and plan out a logical sequence of events and then mix it up like a jigsaw puzzle. It's very hard, and it takes a lot of planning. You don't discover yourself. You feel great. You feel amazing after you finish writing because it's a sense of accomplishment, but that's anything in life. It doesn't matter if you're making a house or a book. It's this idea that you went on this quest that took a while, and you planned it out, and you started putting the brick on next to the other brick, and you put the mortar down, you put the next brick. Like, that's a lot of effort. But
I'd say one thing on that. When you start writing, you have your first original characters and your first original stories that you just play around with. Not things you may publish or anything, just things you write for yourself to get into writing. And when you do that, you may get, while you're writing, ideas about the depth, backstory, other drives, other nuances and facets of your characters. And that can feel like getting to know the characters more, exploring them. But it's not exploring yourself. Unless, of course, you're writing a self-insert, but that is also a completely different thing. And just, I can't even wrap my head around that. But what he's saying, so when you start writing, maybe you can mistake what you're doing for what she's saying. But if you don't grow beyond that, then there's no hope for you.
Yeah, you cannot write and go on. Like, this is a weird thing to say, but you do sort of go on a quest of not identity, but of clarity, because you're trying to put things into a way that makes sense to you. So yes, you are training your mind linguistically, grammatically. Some creative elements are there for sure, but all those emotions have always been there. All those thoughts have always been there. And it's not just, now I think of a good idea. It's like, no, you've always had these ideas running through your head.
If you want to understand your own feelings and your own depth and whatever, and the situations you're in, write a diary.
Yeah.
Because and you write the diary for the diary. Not for anyone to read. You can write it as if you write it for anyone, but really you should just write it for the diary, because that is a form of processing.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That is why it's also used in trauma therapy.
Yeah.
That you write your trauma down by hand.
That's a great example. Imagine a doctor trying to figure out how to write a self-help book, and he doesn't know the rules. He's just like, okay, if you're feeling depressed, what you should do is not go to places where you're very conscious and or aware of places that make you also nervous. And you're like, okay, it's like, it's not helping people. You're just making shit up because you have a PhD and you're trying to publish a book. That's not right.
Yeah.
You don't do that. So anyway,
having a PhD doesn't mean you know everything.
Oh, God.
Even within your own field.
Yeah,
it just means you wrote a dissertation about one specific thing that seemed to have been good enough that some peers reviewed it and deemed it good enough, and you defended it well enough.
And you did maybe 2 exams tops to get there.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you are in full knowledge and understanding, comprehension of the entire field that you have your PhD in.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why it's sometimes interesting to ask people, what was your dissertation about? And then it's something completely weird. Like with all these SJWs who claim to be historians, then you ask them, what was your dissertation about? And then it was like something like the clothing of United States Civil War soldiers. Okay. And you're talking with me about European history, which you never touched because all you ever studied was United States Civil War period history. Just a tiny bit. We had a guy like that on another server once. It was hilarious. Well, I have a history degree. Yeah, but not about anything. That's on my continent. Shut the fuck up.
That's the whole point. You know nothing.
Anyway.
But I'm a history teacher. Oh my god!
Let's move away from this
That's the point.
strange blue blob on the screen. No, I don't know what that is.
They're not only affected by the media that they have consumed that usually consists of these power imbalances, but they are also usually trying to deal with their own external and internal struggles that may come out in the way they write their romances.
People always ask me, like, which character you identify with, and I really identify with both of my characters equally. For me, Livy is the side of me that is more vulnerable, softer, more curious, and Caleb, I feel, is my more...
This is weird. I really don't think writers do this.
You can do that, but what I personally call this artificial mental constructs. Like you construct simplified characters in your head, like when you want to figure out something in your something, and you put up, for example, an advocatus diaboli in your head, like the manifestation of doubt. You can try to build up this artificial character and try to talk with it. That's not an insane thing to do. That's basically having your like an imaginary friend, and because this is a simplified character that only has one or two traits, it's a filter. Like you put something in, you put a question in, and what comes out is is a conclusion of this type of personality or character, this very limited version, very simplified version. That's what characters like these are. When people pray to God or Jesus, they do not pray to the actual God or Jesus. They pray to that what they imagine Jesus would be. It is the equivalent to this artificial mental construct, because everybody has a different version of that, and everybody has. It's what the question, what would Jesus do, does. When you think about what would Jesus do, that's you have your image of Jesus with certain attributes of how he would act. You put in the question, and you have this algorithm where the conclusion, the answer comes out. And that is basically what writing like this is. But it's essentially the same thing we talked about earlier. You do this basic structure of have your characters have like 3 attributes. Yeah. But she's doing that within herself, within her head.
I think that's extremely limiting. And when you're talking about characters, you're not talking about
it's a beginner's tool, I'd say.
I guess I just never I've never heard
when that gets out of hand. That's what some people, usually with borderline personality disorder, mistake for split personalities, where they have these mental constructs in their heads, and they give different emotions that they have, and say that the emotions that they have, they give them names and say that's a different personality of me.
Yeah,
like they deliberately split themselves, but they're not really splitting. It's just running away from responsibility. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
They're essentially doing this basic beginner's writer's tool and abusing it for dodging responsibility and for attention. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I don't mind when
when
authors explain what they did and what they thought and how to get there. That's fascinating, but it's kind of like a guy who made dinner like a year ago, and you're asking him, well, what was it like to come up with that dish that you never invented before? And I was like, well, I bought the ingredients, and then I thought of a recipe, and then the recipe wasn't good, so I kept working with it. It's like, that's this bizarre conglomerate of ideas. And then you say, well, one element is part of my memory of when I was a kid and the sadness I went through. And I worked with that to envision a character. And we're not talking about actual people. We're talking about the persona of a fictional character that's not a person, and they have this visage of an idea of a person. And that's as good as it gets. You're not inventing people in your head. There's no like, here's a full personality, a full lived life, and yada yada. It's like, no, it's an idea of a person, and we're just trying to get that one element. You can't write an entire character study in one character for, I don't know, 2 pages. It just won't happen. There's not enough room. So unless they're writing like War and Peace or some really big thick tome and focusing on one character, you're not going to get all, oh, this is a very deep, rich story about a character. It's like, yeah, not really. This is a bunch of smut you're writing. It's a bunch of pretty boys and pretty girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, but it's not going to work that way.
Fetish stuff.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Smut is the word I
yeah.
Ironically enough, didn't come to mind.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's keep going.
Like on top of my stuff, because within me there is that person, the goal setter.
This even
the
sounds.
person who's like,
this
will be
looks
mine
like
by any means
like,
necessary.
Like sex
so
stories.
I explored that through my male character, who was not afraid of his sexuality, who was not embarrassed by what he wanted or his body or his goals.
All that to say, I don't think it's easy to declare that all physical harm in a story is morally wrong or harmful to the reader or audience. If you really want to understand it more, you do need to analyze it in the context of the story, the setting, the characters, the writer, the metaphor, etc. After going through all these tests and trials, when the heroine finally beats the bad boy at his own game, she gets what she thought she wanted. This is usually when there's a significant separation between the two. Or something that's simply keeping them apart. This is also the moment where the heroine is in a place where she is seen as strong and capable, but she doesn't feel complete. She knows rather subconsciously that her journey is not yet over. And now she's got all these new people in her life that are tied to the person who first challenged her, so she can't be completely rid of him. The cool part is that this challenger is also changing because just as she was affected by him, he is being affected by her. Not being able to be around her for a short while will exacerbate some of his immaturity, and it will become clear to him that he needs to grow up, not just for her, but for himself as well. Now our villain starts to become a hero in the story. His journey becomes more clear as he starts to face tests and trials of his own to figure out who he is and what his desires truly are. The first time the villain had challenged the heroine, it was for selfish reasons, and he didn't realize he was actually helping her grow into a more capable and confident woman. Now, this character, who is becoming more complex, is challenging the heroine because he knows it'll make her stronger. This is actually a sort of trope in and of itself that I love. It also works in a cycle and has potential for more organic
because you get
conflict
attention
to occur. Hero challenges heroine, she succeeds, he likes that, so he challenges her again. The heroine might get fed up with this and perceives this challenging her as bullying or picking on her, but she sees little glimpses of empathy.
Yeah, that is the reaction that emotionally immature women, aka narcissists, have. When you challenge them, they get annoyed and upset, they feel insulted. That's why they tend to not like men who do that. It's also why they don't like men who point out flaws of theirs, which is a challenge. Which is also why they don't like men who offer them actual solutions to their problems. They just want to vent about and vent about and vent about every day, again and again, without solving the problem, which is annoying the man to the point of insanity.
Yeah, I don't see this as a particularly plot-driven story. It seems as if I'm going to get to know someone. You can't get to know me. I am X, and you don't know X. She learns X, and you're like, oh, you learned X.
These stories are essentially all the same, which is why she is describing the basic structure pretty well, because she's seen thousands of it. All these dramas are the same.
Yeah.
Seriously.
There's no goal. It's just like they're trying to associate these multiple groups of people together in practical scenarios. And you're like, oh, they've managed to meet up on the bridge again. They're just walking in opposite directions. How'd that happen? Like, it's like, okay, sure. No goal, no plot. Just all random challenges and conflicts. You're like, okay.
So she challenges him to prove that he is changing, that he is becoming more empathetic. But that annoys him because he doesn't want to admit vulnerability.
What are you talking about? Where are we getting this? Is this story?
And also, yeah, Chad is probably not wrong that it is likely she's not even summarizing the show she's talking about correctly. But I do think, in general, these dramas are so similar, which is why I couldn't keep watching them in the 2000s when I last did. That she's getting the basic structure of the overall somewhat right, but since she has the skewed worldview and the skewed focus on everything, she's probably getting the specifics wrong.
She could be inventing this own story in her head and just showing scenes that loosely connect to it. You're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And this just keeps happening again and again as they slowly learn to be more honest to themselves and to each other. But that is not enough conflict because this is an epic tale and we've got a lot of stuff.
That's not an epic. They're not epic tales.
Really?
How is a drama an epic tale? Like Gilgamesh
for a
epic?
woman it might be.
Gilgamesh epic, the Tale of Three Kingdoms, the Suikoden.
Journey to the West.
There's the ancient Chinese epics. Those are big stories. They're not long. They're just big. Some of them are longer, but they involve multiple characters, like dozens.
The Nibelungen Saga.
These are not epics. These are Harlequin romances, dramas at best.
Yes, but for her, because she gets these extremely high, intoxicating emotional responses, this extreme arousal from watching these, she thinks it's epic. Because she gets epic feelings.
I don't get it.
I think that's what's happening. It's
all just
here.
Emotion to her. Oh God, here we go. It makes me feel epic things, big feelings. Like what? Okay. My own.
Gilgamesh had big feelings. That is a sad bromance.
My subjective interpretation of Korean drama is so big. I get the big fuzzies. And you're like, what? Oh God.
To work through. Obstacles are now thrown at the couple to keep them apart. Parents don't want them to be together. The bad boy's past catches up to him, and people want to do her harm.
Okay, we're going to star-crossed lovers territory.
Interests crop up, and misunderstandings occur. The heroine now reaches a new low until she finds herself tumbling into uncertainty. This is the moment at which the heroine will be forced to confront the Dark Mother. The Dark Mother.
Dark Mother.
Whoa.
Christ.
Is this her own term, or is this part of the heroine's journey? I'm curious.
Can we just go back to just reading Shakespeare?
Fucking term. This can't be a real term.
The Dark Mother.
Fucking hell.
You mean the same mother who tells her idiotic, immature child that you're stupid?
That shit sounds like something out of Dark Souls. Fucking. You know what? Dark Souls probably has a boss called Dark Mother or something. I don't know.
Girl, you're retarded. You're full of hormones. You make really bad decisions. Your choice in men is brain damaging, detrimental. Get a grip. So is that the Dark Mother?
Oh God, I knew this was going to happen. Alex Halo, Gilgamesh owns everything in the world except Saber. We're not talking about Fate. We're talking about the original Epic of Gilgamesh. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to be clear.
Read the Enuma Elish. It's amazing. Or have it get an audio version of it. It's a wonderful story.
And it has the Noah's Ark story in it, a couple thousand years before the Old Testament.
Yep. See, that's something we could talk about when we talk about patterns and cultures and story. There's always a flood story. There's always a rebuilding story, a great calamity like a dragon, some disease story. There's always these big stories. Like the flood comes and there has to be a rebuilding the village or the rebuilding the community. So these are all very common throughout multiple cultures, regardless of their knowledge of other cultures. So fascinating how that works. Anyway, let us confront the Dark Mother.
Mother, as described by Murdoch, is not an evil figure. Instead, she represents the power of feminine desire that is inside of the heroine. She's lashing out. She's angry that she cannot control the heroine. This could be presented as metaphor, but in this story, it's
you mean an
literally the
Oedipal
hero's
mother?
fault. And for a short time, she wins, causing a major separation between the couple. The heroine goes back to her parents, back to a simple life away from her new allies, and then in order to come back from this part of the journey, Murdoch states that one must be mindful of their own suffering. They must also understand that when they choose to come out of it, they will no longer be the same. So far, we've met two very important figures that represent two different sides of the heroine: the villainous crush and the Dark Mother. The villainous crush representing masculine desires such as power, confidence, and aggressiveness. The Dark Mother or Dark Feminine
This is
represents
projection.
spite, chaos, rage, or seduction.
Yes.
How is the Dark Mother seducing anyone? What is she trying to do here? What is the point of the?
No, you can if I'm correct, and this is an Oedipal mother that she's talking about with the Dark Mother. Then the Oedipal mother tries to seduce the child into adopting her lifestyle and her rule, and the reward, because the Oedipal relationship has a reward in it, and that is you don't need to worry about anything. I'm doing the thinking for you. That is the seduction.
Can you at least try to make it sound like you're taking it seriously? Call it like dominant mother or something.
This is so generic. I'm like, because we have the hero's journey. If you actually go to the points, and I'm sure it's in the heroine's journey as well, where it's explained what it represents. But this is,
oh my god! You know what this means? These types of women, they don't just have daddy issues; they have mommy issues too.
I don't know.
Why else would the heroine's story contain an evil mother as the core lowest point in hell to overcome? That requires to go through the heroine's journey. According to her, the way she put it, and that woman put it that you mentioned, because it's from her, that cycle was from her. The student in Defiance of John Campbell. In order to be a heroine, you need an evil mother that you can overcome. Like, wow. It probably says more about that student of John Campbell than about women in general.
Yeah, I think this has a lot to do with the person not liking John Campbell's work. And I'm not saying John Campbell's easy to understand, because it's not. It's a lot of references every single paragraph. It's hard to grasp. And this lady going, well, it wasn't feminine enough for me. I want a female version of the hero's journey. You're like, okay, that could be interesting. Tell us the female.
Yeah, but you require an evil, dark, tyrannical, Oedipal, whatever mother for it.
Yeah, that's weird. I admit that's kind of weird.
It's a mama joke waiting to happen.
Why not a dark father or a dark person or someone to remind you of control or the final obstacle?
That would be too generic, and when you make it too generic, we're getting back to the actual hero's journey.
Oh, and Dark Mother doesn't generic.
Yeah, because she needs it sex specific. it can't be in defiance of the neutral thing,
You know
which
what?
she says is the male thing.
I think
if she can't make it about women all the time.
I think she's watched dozens and dozens of Korean and Chinese and Japanese dramas, and she just so happened to be reading the heroine's.
Oh, I'm talking about that student of Campbell.
Yeah, no.
I don't think she watched J dramas and K dramas because those didn't exist in the 80s or whenever.
Whit and Folly is like done. She combines her love of reading obscure books with obscure Korean dramas, and she's just like, oh my god, it looks very similar. We'll call this must be the Dark Mother in this story. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe. I don't know. It could be many things. I have no idea what this person wrote in the heroine's.
Yeah, there are that rare, but there are mothers who do not have personality disorders, are mature and supportive.
Well, if we're talking,
they also will spank you, but they are supportive.
If we're talking about a mother in this context, she's rich, she's powerful, she's looking out for her dynasty or whatever. She's going to be a bit protective of those things. That doesn't necessarily mean she's the Dark Mother. How is she seductive to this female girl? What if she's just saying, "Hey, you don't match my son. You're not the right girl for him." Is that the challenge?
Yeah.
Is that it? You don't have the skills, you don't have the background, the pedigree, you're just not the right person. I'm sorry.
It's destiny.
Yeah, and then it becomes another challenge. It's just, I have to prove to the mother I'm good enough for the son, but does she actually want the son? Will she admit her feelings? See you next episode. Like this kind of bullshit sort of storytelling. Like, okay, fine. I guess this is a pattern. I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Alex Halo, hey, I know Smud, but I have to live up to expectations. Well, thank you. Thanks for annoying me, Alex. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, he's building it up to one day subvert them out of the blue.
Yeah. Because
you can't subvert expectations if you haven't built them up.
Here is Louis Seems Gay. That's cute. Instead of Louis C.K., Louis Seems Gay. I thought that was good. I'm going to guess the premise of the show she's using is anorexic Jotaro sexually harasses lady from Devil May Cry while her mother, Kim Jong-un's sister, looks at them constipated.
Oh, I'm getting a spinal injury just hearing that.
Wow. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. One more donation from Francis. We can keep going. This girl, oh my goodness. These Ching Chong TV shows all have people who look the same. This means they share tropes or trops. What? No, I'm not racist. I let Mexicans mow my lawn. I still think she was watching too many dramas and she was like, oh, this is just like the book I read. I'm going to make some diagrams.
That's amazing.
Here's my own diagram. I think it goes like this. It's like, what? No, it's a cycle. It's not a line. It doesn't go up and down. What are you talking about?
Hey, at least she's making diagrams and not just solely rambling on like all these other idiots.
It's just like my Japanese anime. Like, no.
She at least, by making diagrams, she at least put enough thought into it.
That's true.
To put it into a structure.
Unfortunately, it's dumb. It's still stupid. It's a dumb thought.
Yes, but she at least. It's what I'm saying. There's some effort here at least.
Yeah, exactly. I will admit she has a brain. This is true. How she's using it is the problem. Anyway, okay, we got 3 minutes left. We're good. We're doing,
Oh yeah. Tyler Preston said something good in chat. Tyler Preston said.
Anything we've been doing, we've been a pretty good time so far.
Yeah.
Preston said, I feel like this Dark Mother is the female version of the protective father of the female protagonist.
Good example. That's a great example.
Yeah, great.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
All right. I assume that, but because I don't know what rage and chaos has to do with any of this shit.
Well, the chaos is that's the female.
Animus, maybe? Rage?
No, that's no. That's anima. Because, well, that's why I thought she's talking about an Oedipal mother. An Oedipal mother is a narcissist, maybe even a borderliner. That's why chaos and rage and spite of all things is in there.
I can't see this.
But that's described. If we just take all these four, they describe a narcissist or a borderliner. Spite, chaos, rage, seduction.
I can't see this woman.
That's a personality disorder.
I can't see this refined Chinese woman bursting into rage.
No, she probably not. This is a controlled. If she is something evil, she's probably a sociopath.
I could see spite here and there. Seduction, not so much. I don't know about that. That's kind of out of character.
Oh no, she has a Machiavellian streak. She would do it with with manipulative tactics. That's what the seduction part probably references.
I hope, because this does not make sense to me. But anyway,
no. Look, in this, when we're talking about this Oedipal shit, seduction does not mean sexual. It's when when a lot of these psychological terms are coined after Greek mythology, for example. But when you look at the actual story of Narcissus, that doesn't resemble as very much the modern, much more sophisticated understanding of what we call narcissism. The same goes with the Oedipal mother, which is a reference to Oedipus Rex, which and the same is as we see in the Electra complex, which is the sex reversed version. They're just references. So when we say seduction, in this sense, it doesn't necessarily mean sexual. It means the. We talked about Grimm's fairy tales before. One famous story is the story that thankfully Disney didn't do. Is the story of Hänsel and Gretel, where two children that get abandoned by their parents go into the forest. They leave a trail of breadcrumbs to find their way back. The breadcrumbs are eaten by birds, so they can't find their way back. And they come across a gingerbread house with a witch inside. The gingerbread house is the seduction. Like, there's food. These kids are starving. They come from a poor family and they're starving. There's a house made out of candy. The witch inside wants to feed them, keeps them caged. So the house itself is a lure. Keeps them caged, feeds them, because later on she wants to put them into the oven to eat them herself. That witch is the representation of an Oedipal mother. Pretty much to the point. Because the Oedipal mother, in the end, in a psychological sense, consumes the children because by caging them, deprives them of the ability to grow up. So once if at any point the Oedipal mother dies of old age, for example, the child is left without a parent that cares, that caters, and is lacking basic life skills. With that would be the real world analogy to the Oedipal mother consuming the child. But yeah, the seduction part is, here is the gingerbread house, you starving child. You can eat to your heart's delight, but you can never leave. And that's the deal. And the child has to fall for that and agree to that and not find its way out of that. The rebellious child may break out of that at some point.
All right. Well, this is a stretch, at least to be generous to Whit and Folly of what the hell she's trying to say. So, we'll just keep going and try to interpret what she's saying as true.
These two figures transform the heroine, and she interacts with them and incorporates them into herself. In turn, these figures may become not only personified, but they may also transform. In this case, the villainous crush turns into a hero. As the heroine claws her way out of her suffering, she understands herself better, but due to some external threat or misunderstanding, she is unable to go to the hero. She may confide in a grandmother figure of sorts. It could be a friend who is wiser, or it could be an old woman. Murdoch calls this figure
Wow, more women.
Grandmother Spider? What the fuck? So even the I was just about to say. So what is the grandmother a good person? Because wouldn't she have to have been a dark mother before? But since the grandmother is now a spider, which is usually used as a sign for a manipulative person.
Yeah.
That weaves webs of Machiavellian bullshit. It's also a sign of wisdom, of course, and cunning, but mainly of manipulation.
This is getting way too generic, and like spider references to the person who's there to help you. We have this pattern in the wise man or the sage in the hero's journey, who sort of helps the hero pass the threshold at the start of the story. So now we're at the end of the story.
It's all the same, but it's just all the characters are women.
But why?
It's the hero's journey, but all the characters are women.
What?
That's all it is.
The sage is the spider. The old man is the grandmother. Like, whatever. It's the same shit. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it is exactly the hero's journey, but every character has to be a woman.
Yeah.
And on that note, since this is feminist-inspired stuff, I find it very strange that all the women in this, the explicitly named females in this journey thing, are despicable beings. The Dark Mother, the Spider, that's not venerable symbols.
Yeah.
Very, very strange.
In Campbell, it's usually the seductress, but the seductress can be it's there to benefit you, or it's also there to lead you astray. And it's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
This is a spider, and that could mean many things, so I don't know. This is very obscure. Anyway, she'll probably describe it. Probably.
Grandmother Spider, which comes from a Native American myth. Grandmother Spider is a character who is concerned about people and helps them to discover the meaning of life. This is the moment where both
the meaning of life is inner power?
You wait, you went to one specific mythology. Instead of generalizing things. Because spiders have so many different meanings. That's why I went with this is an evil symbol. Because spiders are usually not seen as the nice critters. It's only in Europe that we have basically no bad insects beside ticks.
This is okay
anymore because we killed everything. But we still see spiders as cunning and manipulative.
When we look at The Hero's Journey by Campbell, there's so many permutations of what he's trying to say. It gets dizzying. It's like, what exactly is the wise man? Like, what does that do? And in this case, it sounds as if the spider is a good thing, is a force for good, as opposed to the Dark Mother. So I don't know why she's using this Native American reference, because I don't understand it, but it's just going to be more symbolism. And if that's all this is just one giant gilded path. It's just one sort of, look at this pretty thing over there. That's the Gilded Mother. This is the Dark Sister. This is the other pattern. It's like, for what story are we telling anymore? There's all these characters that are the same but different. And
Campbell went for generic descriptions of these characters that can take so many different forms.
Yeah, but he had references.
Because of course. He references all of those to show, look, all these different things have this one common denominator.
Exactly.
And that's the common denominator he put into his his diagram of the hero's journey. She, however, uses absolute specific examples that someone from another part of the world will completely misunderstand.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I just read her shorthand. I was like, okay, and then after the evil mother, I have to overcome the evil grandmother? What
if she made a video just on the Dark Mother and explained a few permutations or examples, I'd be like, okay, that's probably a bit more helpful. But I still wouldn't know that because it's one of 30 different steps in the heroine's journey, which I don't think is very useful to begin with. So just to mention the grandmother spider is like, I can't follow you. I'm sorry.
I like Ego Dream, how Ego Dreamer puts it. It's just like the hero's journey, but with bootleg names.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay.
Plagiarism.
Let's keep going. Alex Halo, Madoka Magica, the seduction is the wish.
That's correct.
Is that the start of the show, I think?
Yeah, Madoka gets the offering to become a magical girl, but you have to make a wish to become a magical girl, and she never, for the whole show, she can't properly figure out what the wish should be.
Yeah.
And that's mainly what protects her.
Here is Tacitus Horsecock.
Because she wants to make the perfect wish.
Thanks for the donation. This girl, typically there's a character who's an older male who licks his fingers after he scratches his ass. Murdoch calls this the gay pee-pee poo-poo retard.
What? Oh, God.
That could be accurate. I have no idea. Oh, God. Anyway, we have less than 2 minutes, or just about 2 minutes.
The heroine and the hero must be true to themselves. Both of them have a meeting of sorts with Grandmother Spider. Now they're ready to be true to each other. It is in this step of the journey
There's the bus.
that truly marks the point
Oh,
of
they're
their
running for
return.
the bus.
It does not simply become easy now that they're officially together. They may try to go back to the way things were, but they will keep finding themselves.
What a great couple. He's headlocking his girlfriend and dragging her along with him. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's comedy.
Oh my God.
It's friendly banter between the couple.
Could you imagine doing that to your girlfriend? She'd probably beat the shit.
Yes.
Like, holy crap.
It depends. If you get a good girlfriend, you can do shit to each other.
Who's the size of...
Always laugh.
Up to your waist? Just like, what the hell?
It depends a lot. It depends a lot. If this is possible between the two of you, and it's it's in a joking manner, that's fine. Because in this case, she lets herself or in scenes like this rather, she lets herself be dragged along because inside she knows this is actually the right way. He's actually right.
Oh dear.
So she's not. If she was deep down truly opposed to where he wants to go or what he wants to do, or any joke he made about her to facilitate the situation, she would fight for real out of this.
Yeah.
But since deep down she knows, yeah, he's right. She's just playing along.
I hope so, because you can't do this to big girls. So yeah, not the. I go, whoa, don't do that to a girl. That's not right. But hey, what do I know about the Dark Mother?
Oh, don't go being nice to girls now. When you think flirting is buying them chips and calling them bitches.
Well, I don't try to drag them behind me. Holy shit.
What? You don't drag them by the hair or throw them over your shoulder?
No.
And then give them fries?
Well, not in that order.
Not in that order.
Conflict will ensue over and over as they continue to fight their own demons, but at least this time, they ultimately have each other to lean on. They help each other. The next step is, of course, oneness. This is the marriage, the happily ever after, the marrying of two individuals into one partnership. It is a sacred event, often
that doesn't mean beyond dualism.
And it's often where these stories end. When people say
that's not beyond dualism, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I just laugh. What people love about this dynamic is that it is a little dark.
So wait a second. She's saying problematic is dumb. It's like, yeah, we agree. It's a stupid thing to say. All right. We agree on something.
Yay! She's not completely lost.
Yeah, the word is dumb. Don't use it. Like, thank you. All right. Although she's still going to be a Raylo and say how great this scene is or whatever bullshit.
That's a good thing. Put yourself in the shoes of the heroine within this arc. Falling in love with the
I
villain
just
is
shoot
not
the
taking
guy.
ownership over the stuff society said you cannot have or be. Power, sexual desire, aggressiveness. The villain challenges you to take it and be whatever you need to be to get what you want. They
much
trick
brain
you
damage?
into growing
Just kill
beyond
him.
your insecurities. And then it's even more of a power fantasy to then have affected the villain with your own natural gifts. As they see you beat them, they fall more madly in love with you.
So you were back at Taming the Beast, yeah?
I don't.
That's the female power fantasy described by Campbell.
She's describing it as if she is the female. And you're like, dude, that's not.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the female power fantasy described.
That's not how you.
In psychology, and I think by Campbell as well.
Not from the first person perspective. You use it in terms of a character, a third, not you, another character. You're not experiencing
Of
this.
course, of course, it has to be first person because it's the female power fantasy.
Oh God!
I have the power to change the beast into a prince.
Okay.
I have the ability to tame this criminal, this werewolf, this vampire, this pirate into a sophisticated husband.
Yeah, I live vicariously through the stories I read, and I think myself as Belle from The Beauty and the Beast. Okay.
Is that what she said?
Well, she's saying from my perspective. It's like that's not. It's not.
That's just. And she's just admitting what she really feels that she wants to do. That the power that she wants, and then. And she basically proves that all this stuff about what we I think more aptly call the feminist journey
maybe
is just bullshit, and she just admitted she herself falls into the basics of the standard.
At best, we can say she can write in the first person mode, and that would at least explain her diction here. But it's just like, okay, we know where you're coming from, lady. We've got it loud and clear. This is what you want. Anyway, we're almost done. So fine. It's good.
And then you're there for each other, being there for them as they work on themselves so that they can be a better partner for you, until you're both better, hand in hand, ready to
a
take
healthy
on the world
relationship
together. It's beautiful. And it's the most epic love story I will ever know.
Are you serious?
No, it's the basic love story.
Are you
it's
serious?
A healthy relationship.
This is an epic love.
It's not epic.
What?
What is going on?
How is it epic?
If you think that is epic, you really have seen nothing of the world.
The epic is not two. That's like the bare minimum for a story. You need two characters in conflict. The greatest epic love story. There's two characters. Okay.
No. What she said is her most epic love story is what ends in a healthy relationship.
Really?
And you can say that jokingly in a quaint manner, like that's the best story to happen, including in real life. But it's just none of this is.
You know how we.
So she says it you can mean it in an ironic way, but none of what she presented is actually epic in any way.
You know how we say, read the book. We can't believe these people are saying the stuff they're saying. Why didn't they just read the book? It's like, I want her to read any book. Like, just read books in general before you start.
And not fan fiction.
Please no fan fiction. Please no romance. Just read other stuff and just see where there's more than two characters that might have a romance. There could be a love triangle. There could be a love square. There could be whatever.
Well, there was a tiny. In this story, there was a tiny love triangle. That's the girl being having to decide between the actual supportive guy and the beast she wants to tame.
This is weird. The declaration of true love. Like, whoa, what are you talking? Those are two very dangerous words in my my
You
list.
cannot. The thing is, you cannot declare true love. That's something you just live.
I don't even know what that achieves once you do that. It's
you can declare love, but you cannot declare true love.
Yeah, she was talking about.
That's something you prove through everyday action.
Yeah, two lives are shared or something. You're like, that's a relationship. It's not true love. You could even have a loveless relationship, which is exactly the same. All of these things are so they're not very helpful. Separation from innocence. That could be any coming of age story. Accepting the challenge. Every goddamn story. Learning the rules of the boys' club. What the hell does that even mean? Initiation and crossing the first threshold. That's basic hero's journey. It's just so this is not very helpful. Moving goalposts. What is that? That's an argument flaw, not a. That's not what? Tests and trials. You should have tests and trials on every step of this. I don't know. This is just. I don't think this is very effective for teaching a trope. For a redeemed lover.
I'm confused by the whole gathering allies thing with the learning the rules of the boys' club.
I don't see
doesn't match up.
The bad boy is not a villain. The bad boy is a bad boy. He's against. He's rebellious. He's against whatever society or family or group. That's it. He's not a villain. He's not bad. It's just this strange. Like if I were to teach someone about writing a love story, I would really have to think about the general dynamics of this. If I were to do a structure like this, and I wouldn't even draw it like that, to figure out what those stereotypes are, what those patterns are, and see what is actually a principle, what's actually needed, not learning the rules of the boys' club. That's not a hard point for anything. Conflict. Are you joking? Conflict is a point. External and what? That is so. Come on.
As if nothing before that was conflict.
Yeah, everything was gravy. Tests and trials. What do you think that's conflict? This is so dumb. How can you write this out and take it? Did she? Okay, she obviously never consulted with a writer or a teacher or another. This is just so generic and useless. Conflict. Okay, we got a few seconds left. I think she's done anyway.
The beyond duality thing, choosing oneness. I'm sorry, that's not a proper healthy relationship. In a healthy relationship, you are still individuals.
You have to understand
just working together in a dualism, in a yin-yang relationship. If you become one being,
that's
psychologically. If you become one being, you cease to be individuals.
Yeah, that's unhealthy.
And that is not a healthy relationship. So that is insane.
One of her bullshit videos, not all of them, of course, but one of them is she was rambling for about 30 minutes, and one of her conclusions was, all of life is one. We're all the same. We all have the same kindred spirit. It's like, oh, really? That you figured this out after all this time? Like, this is your big, profound message to the world.
You never met a psychopath.
It's like so generically soppy. You're like, oh, okay, thank you, Nostradamus. That's great. Thanks for that prediction. We're all the same. Okay, like that's her. That would have been her conclusion in any of these line graphs she wanted to draw. The ending is we're all together. We're all the same. We all understand each other. Soppy, melodramatic crap. And she wants a Fast and the Furious version of this? Like, good luck. No one's going to write that. No one's going to produce that. It'll be a pile of crap. Anyway.
Before that happens, I get my Nasha Da Noir movie.
Yes. All right, we got 30 seconds. I'm sure it's all just piano music and bullshit.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite pieces of media are that use these tropes, whether it's webtoons or books. Something with visual media would be awesome because we rarely see it in visual media. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe.
Yeah.
We're done. Shut up.
that was sad. You know what? It's not that she actually has a brain.
Yeah.
And I could argue with her for weeks.
It wasn't that bad.
I could teach her things in a few weeks, but she wouldn't listen. So I'd probably have like an hour discussion just to see how crazy she is, because you can't change these people's minds. There's no point. But I could watch another Whit and Folly video.
Only with her, I think you might have a chance.
No,
but you'd need to go. No. I've done this. But it takes. But I'd say 99.99% of people do not have the patience or the time for it. What you need to do is have them in a friendly, at least 3 hour long Socratic method conversation.
Oh, they will not answer questions. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, but you need to go into. Yeah, but this is the only way. It doesn't work with all of them. She is one of the types I'd say is close enough to sanity where you can do that.
Okay,
you can try that.
Let's get.
Doesn't mean it works. Doesn't mean she works with it. Yeah. But there's the possibility.
All right. Here is her Tumblr page. We're in Stream Memes now. Thanks, guys. This is not so much a meme, just a capture of her Tumblr page. And the first thing that she says is Raylo, Star Wars, Meteor Garden, various Asian dramas, general lover of stories and all things fantasy. So there you go.
No, thank you.
It's contagious.
Yeah. Here's Gorgeous Rex. Start dating, meet a cool dude, go to college, lecture your boyfriend about feminism. He leaves you for someone else, buy a cat, get a job at some college, perpetuating the cycle, grow old and die, the cats eat your corpse. All right. That's that's a pretty good heroine's journey there, Gorgeous Rex.
Yeah. That's the feminist journey.
Yeah.
The failed feminist journey.
The dark mother who has no children.
The good feminist journey is where you come out and realize, oh fuck, this whole shit is making me miserable. I actually do want a guy, and I do want kids, and I do want to care for them. So I am actually a nest builder. So let's make the household amazing for everyone to want to be there.
All right. Here is what girls think guys want. And I'm still stopping at this image. I'm trying to evaluate my desires at this point, so maybe there's some philosophical undertones to this. But it ends up being what guys really want is the hero's Germany. Want flags?
Yeah, those are the iterations of Germany.
Okay. Cute stuff. Oh, this is great. All right, gentlemen, we need a new topic for a Smud Talk. Anime. Cheese. I could talk about cheese. I don't care. I know cheese. I just got to bring in Crazy Philosopher. He knows a lot about cheese.
Good font. Good choice of font.
Fondant or fondue, rather. No, I'm not. That's his department, not mine.
I like the font. I'm not talking about fondue.
Oh. That's an actual cheese.
Why's everything cheese with you?
Because we're talking about cheese. Anyway, maybe we'll do that on the weekend. Oh, old but goodie. Can we use this to block the sun? What? Sulfur.
Oh God, I remember that.
Let's just launch a bunch of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. What a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, climate change is man-made. Everyone agrees, except those that we don't talk about. Let's do actual climate change by fucking up the atmosphere.
That will never go away. Sulfur dioxide will never go away.
Yeah, let's just permanently alter the atmosphere.
Let's destroy the climate and the habitat of billions of lives.
Mm-hmm.
Not just human lives. Oh, God. Here's Francisco. Hey, how's it going? What? No father figure and blowing your professor for English lit degree doesn't do a motherfucker. Let's do a mother. You are trying to imply that she has gotten an actual degree by nefarious means, like some sort of dark woman.
That turns into a dark mother?
Not if she's...
And then a spider?
Not if she's blowing the professor, then no, I guess not.
Is the dark mother the cocoon phase of the woman?
Oh, maybe. Applies a parent-child, so I don't know where the child comes into play here, but yeah, it could happen.
No, the child is the larva, of course.
She
goes through the heroine's journey to, in the end, become a dark mother.
Massive
which
sword.
is indicative for the cycle of abuse between narcissists.
I'm not sure how Quentin's a massive sword, but you know
he's just because he's a massive.
He's a massive. All right. Lord Kells or George Kells. Male version is of looks like Matthew and the Dragon, I think, and the female version 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah. Just Right and Folly.
Be raped by it.
Just Right and Folly. You know what? Probably not too far from the truth. Toronto is a pretty weird place, so there's lots of weirdos. The Dark Mother. Luke, this is your mother. That's good.
What is this? Darth Mother?
Two Darth Vaders holding hands, I guess.
I like that Darth Mother, the paddle with the big buttons is shaped to accommodate her boobs.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty cute.
That's attention to detail.
Yeah.
And her shoulder things are also more feminine. Like this is nice. They put effort into this. They put thought into this. It's not just a woman in a Darth Vader costume.
Here's Mike Testa, the Smud, the Wisp, and the Everyday Video Essayist. What is that? Emotional headcanon, go. Oh. Well, it's not wrong. It's kind of accurate, actually. Oh boy, George Kells. Here we go. Who's the chick on the left? Is that the same girl?
You think that's a guy?
Oh,
you mean on the left side?
Yeah, top left. Is that?
I suppose.
Whit and Folly. Is that the same girl? I don't know.
It's hard to tell with the perspective and light.
Yeah, no, I don't. Whatever. It's probably the same girl. It's fine. But she likes when guys beat her up. I don't know. I have no idea.
She likes abusive relationships.
Yeah. Alex Halo. Hey, Alex. Will you press the button.com? I will not. You will get one wish and magical powers, but you must use those powers to risk your life and fight witches. Don't ask questions and press the button. Yeah, that's Madoka for you. Crazy anime.
That's a proper subversion of a genre.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, guys, that was it. That we went for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Not bad for Whit and Folly for almost 20-minute video. Wasn't as bad as I thought. Still pretty retarded, but it's fine. It's consumable retardation. We can digest it, and you know what? We can watch another in the future. It's totally fine for me. I think you guys are okay too. So, wasn't that crazy? At least this time. Before it was crazy, but it was still funny. It was like so weird, silly. It was fun to listen to, which is we can't say a lot of people because sometimes they just run with their crazy ideas and we just can't follow, and we don't want to follow. It's too much. It's too silly. So anyway, that was great. Thanks, guys. Keep them coming. Keep the suggestions coming, and we'll give our mods something to randomly create for you to vote on tomorrow. And we'll see you tomorrow, I hope. And just in case you don't know, we might be doing either on this channel or on LitDev's channel an interview with, I think, Todd Howard was his name? Todd Howard. He's debuting one of his comic books, and we're going to be helping him out, talking about it, and how he's going to get around publishing it. We might even help out with a Kickstarter. We're not sure, but that's coming up on Sunday. So have yourself a great evening. Thank you for listening. Thanks, guys, for joining. Have yourself a great day. Bye.